Hello. Welcome to Nice and Blunt. I think we might be live. Did I get it this time? I'm honestly not sure. I think we're good. Welcome to Nice and Blunt. I'm Adam Riancho, and today is Monday, Memorial Day, May 25th, 8 p.m. Still getting the hang of this new OBS update, so hopefully we didn't fuck up and set up a second one. I'm gonna have to double check. But I think we're good. We're live. We got everything rolling. Whohame's in the chat. Do we have the chat set up? Yeah. Sup, fam? How you doing? Pleasure joining you on the live stream yesterday. Whohame's had a 9-hour stream, and that was dope. Pleasure to be a part of it. And check out the replay if you haven't done so. Subscribe over on Whohame's channel. He's recently cracked 600 subscribers, and you want to get in. Definitely subscribe to Whohame's, friend of the channel. Thank you, LJR Acevedo. Good luck on the drafts tonight as well. And with that in mind, let's pivot over to Underdog, where we're going to hop into a Pomeranian tonight. However, we're going to take our time. I think there needs to be a little bit of strategizing in the Pomeranian before you hop in, because the advanced structure is very unique, very interesting. 4 out of 12, so you start off with a good chance to move on. Then 2 out of 10, that's not bad. 1 out of 8, a little difficult, but not the end of the world. However, 940 people are in the final, and although you can have 50 entries for only $3 a pop, like, even if you make the final, 940 people, it's not that good. 940 last place in the final only wins $10. That's dog shit. That is terrible. Like, that is pretty fucking bad, if you ask me. This contest is really, really top heavy. Arguably, I don't really want to hop in. There's elements of this I'm not too excited about. However, if you finish top 30, 11 through 30, all 20 of those contestants get $1,000 back. 6 through 10, 2,500. Fifth place over $5,000. Fourth gets 10K. That's not bad. Third place gets 15. First gets 50. Second gets 20K. So all of the money is contingent on you finishing at minimum top 30 in the final week. So if you are not planning for week 17 in this contest, I don't really know if it's worth your time. So keep that in mind. What's up, Hallie Lyon and Scott Young? How you doing this evening? I think before we hop in, I think we really need to talk about those week 17 matchups. So with that in mind, I have them here on this separate tab, and I'm going dark mode tonight. So just to verify, this is week 17. This is the schedule, and let's check the matchups. And we also have the over-under point totals over on the right side of the board here. The Ravens at Bengals have an over-under of 51.5. That's a high-scoring game. So I think Ravens and Bengals are teams that you want to target. This Saints and Falcons game, not bad. I wouldn't be shying away from it, but the over-under is only at 44.5, so not as many expected points. The Colts at the Browns. Cleveland weather late December, not too excited about that. That could be a problem. I don't know if the Colts and Browns is a game I'm dying to target, but who knows? Maybe it's not the end of the world. The Giants at the Cowboys, though. That game is indoors. We love that. The over-under is 49.5. Should be a shootout. So Cowboys and Giants are a very coveted spot. And although the Cowboys have gotten a little bit, I guess they addressed their defense a little bit, but I ultimately don't fear the Cowboys defense, especially in the run game. I think Cam Scatterbo at the Cowboys final week of the season, week 17, should be pretty fucking good. Then we have the Steelers at Tennessee. I think the weather would be worse in Pittsburgh, so this game isn't like the worst possible scenario you could find. Not totally convinced the Steelers defense is as good this year, but I'm not sure if this is like the shootout of the weekend. I think it'll be fine, but the over-under is at 42.5. So maybe not the Steelers and Titans are, hyper coveted options in this one. However, Buffalo, if you can make it to week 17, the Bills are going to dominate at Miami. Weather's not going to be a big problem, and the over-under is at 47.5. That's definitely favoring the Buffalo Bills. That's like a 40-7 expected game. So give me the Bills in this format for sure. I'll pass on Miami. The Vikings at the Jets is interesting because on one hand, I actually think that this could be a really smash spot. I don't fear the Jets defense at all. However, the weather's probably not going to be the best, and it's probably going to be over at halftime. The Vikings defense can be one of those shutdown units in the NFL. Brian Flores has one of the best defenses. At least the scheme is elite. And down the stretch last year, if you were playing the Vikings, your offense was dog shit. So I don't want any Jets in this format. Fuck that. I don't want the Jets at home against Minnesota. I also don't really want this game, the Seahawks at Carolina. Both of those defenses are the main mover of the franchise. I don't really trust the Panthers offense against the Seahawks defense. And then even Carolina at home, they can slow down Sam Darnold. So I'll favor the Seahawks, but I'm not going to be super high on Carolina. The Raiders at Cardinals. Now that one's interesting. Indoor game, so that's good. But the Cardinals offense is tricky. Carson Beck expected to be the guy. I would like to start Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, though. I think the Raiders at Arizona should be a juicy matchup. This one, though, this next one is probably the best one of the afternoon. Detroit at Chicago, the over-under at 49.5. That's absolutely a game you want to be targeting. So we will give a little bonus value to the Lions and Bears. And then the Eagles at the Niners. That one should be really interesting. Sunday Night Football. Niners defense shouldn't be as good this year, but the Eagles defense is typically very good under Vic Fangio. They have a lot of good players. And then it's not like the Niners are the safest team to be fully healthy at the end of the season. They have a very odd schedule, multiple international games. I think the Mexico City game is going to be really tough for them. And they also have a lot of difficult teams down the stretch. So I will be honest with you, the more I look at the Niners, I actually see them as a team that might break down over time, just might not be fully healthy when it's all said and done. I do kind of worry a little bit about the age and injury risk about the Niners, but the Eagles should be pretty solid in this matchup. I don't love their previous matchups to get there. On Monday, we have the Texans at the Packers. That game, I don't think I want this game. I'm going to be honest with you. The Packers, January 4th, that's going to be cold as fuck. A Monday night game. Not only that, the Texans defense is a shutdown defense. I could see this game finish 13-10. I would hit the under on the 42.5 point total. I'm very worried about a Green Bay, Wisconsin matchup in January, week 17. So the only player I think kind of benefits in this scenario is like David Montgomery because of an expected, onslaught on the ground. I'm not too keen on any of the pass catchers in this matchup. Really good corners against the Packers, and the weather might just derail every big drive. So I worry about that one. I think we're going to fade Green Bay and Houston in this contest, and in general on Underdog. Most of the money's made in week 17. But then we have the flex games. The flex games are definitely interesting and should be a little bit more coveted because the NFL already knows these are the games we kind of want to put on Saturday, and we're expecting a pretty good matchup. Captain Spock in here, what's up? Says KC at the Chargers. That's definitely one. What's up, Nap God? You're right. We got Denver at New England. Weather should be a problem. I don't know if Massachusetts in January is ideal. Probably not the end of the world, but Denver has a shutdown defense, so I could see Surtain limit A.J. Brown. I think today we're not going to care too much about A.J. Brown. It's different. In Best Ball Mania, you at least make $37.50 for making the final. In this contest, you only make $10 minimum. So we'll see what happens, but I think today we're not going to draft A.J. Brown. This Chiefs at Chargers game should be very fun. I've mentioned it before on the channel. Travis Kelce owns this matchup, so that's definitely a good spot. And then the Chargers, I think, will be in line to win the division and very competitive down the stretch. So I do like both of these teams. Probably a game that decides who will have home field advantage in the playoffs. So I like both of these. Both of these teams will favor Chiefs and Chargers. And then Rams at Tampa, that's a pretty good one. Tampa, Florida in January. It is an outdoor game, but I don't think it's really one that concerns me. I don't think it's going to be super cold or raining. More likely than not, it's just a high-scoring game. Over/under at 48.5. Definitely one I would like. The Rams and the Bucks. Not a bad spot. But the Commanders at the Jags, that one should be really fun. I don't see the Commanders having much of a defense this year. The Jags sometimes really do step up on defense, but I think at the very least, the Jaguars' offense should be pretty good. And if Jaden Daniels is healthy, it'll probably be a pretty competitive game. Maybe not, down to the wire. Maybe the Jags win by like 10. However, I think it should be worth our while. Should be worth our time. But wanted to bring that up. Definitely valuable information. I think if you're going to play on Underdog and assume that you're going to be taking down some contests, if you have not spent some time looking at the schedule, I think you're probably doing yourself a disservice. So hopefully that wasn't too long committed to it, but it's very valuable information and definitely good to know to set our sights on this contest. A reminder, 940 people make the final in week 17, and about 300 of them only get $10. If you don't finish top 30, you're not getting more than $1,000. And honestly, even top 50 at 500 is kind of like the minimum to feel great about your return on this contest. Like if you max this and you finish 76, you only get $100 back. That can't be great. You know what I mean? Like that's not ideal. It is what it is. You take the risk, you try and win it all, but let's try and plan to get some of these big payouts, shall we? Let's hope for even third place, 15K. That's pretty dope. But thank you, Jamie, for joining the Blunt Rotation. Appreciate it. We are going to be hopping in. What's up, Disbanded? What's up, Kijo? Hello. Blaze it. I think it's a good time. My boy, thanks for the info. Hell yeah. Giving me the emojis. I think it's definitely time. We took, 12 minutes to go through that? Definitely worth it. All right. If you are ready, if you got something to smoke with me, I got a new red lighter today, and I'm here for it. So smoke it if you got it. Let's pump that gas, shall we? Let's go. Okay, so we're ready. We're going to hop into a Pomeranian. Hopefully no location error tonight. I'll give you a quick 5-second countdown. At this point, you should be good to go. I will be joining in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Let's enter. We are hopping in the Pomeranian, and this instant filled. So y'all were on it. Maybe this contest is just instant filling. Typically a $3 contest that just dropped will have a lot of excitement. So I recognize Sosky. He's right next to me, of course. I can't say I recognize too many other folks. Knowing that it instant filled, perhaps y'all are in the next one. But let me know if you're in here with me. Shout it out in the chat. And if you'd like a team review, definitely I'm happy to give you a team review, my thoughts. And it does look like we did have a little overfill, unfortunately. So maybe next time I'll give you all a 10-second countdown. But bummer. Sorry about that, y'all. But it's not the end of the world for me. I don't mind it too much. Y'all make it more difficult. But pick 10. Could be worse, could be better. Not the end of the world. What's up with the super chat? Jamie says, fume. Absolutely, we will smoke it. Appreciate you with the $2 donation. Let's rip it again. Let's also bring in the music. I think it's probably a good time for the music. And let me know if it's too loud. I think I'm going to bring it down a little bit. We're going to go negative 40 decibels. When I was watching the replay yesterday, it was the other song. I thought it was just a little too high. But interesting. James Cook off at the 107. I mean, against the Dolphins can't be a bad spot. We mentioned the Bills as a team to covet. But I also mentioned that Giants game against the Cowboys. I definitely like that. I think that's what I'm going to do here. I think so. I think we want the Cowboys-Giants game. Not going to be afraid of it. So ADP kind of dictating where we go, but I think there are some running backs that are nice in the next round. I don't think I'm in love with Pomeranian Hampton, though, for Week 17. I think Hampton's a guy that can help get you there, really, really produce well. I think that Dolphins matchup the week before is going to be fucking lit. Hampton at the Dolphins should go nuclear. I think the Mike McDaniel revenge game, you know, he lost like, what was it, 70 to 25 against Sean Payton a couple years ago. Wasn't it something like that? Oh no, they won 70 to 25. Yeah, they hung 70 on Sean Payton. That's what it was. I could see him hang 70 on his former team. I could see that. Damn it, Derrick Henry goes, curse you. Curse you. That's a bummer. I mean, I like Hampton a lot, but historically, if you look at the matchup against the Chiefs' run defense, hasn't been good lately. The Chiefs have actually had a really, really elite run defense. In terms of fantasy points allowed, they don't give up much. But we do let the McCaffrey drafter take Saquon Barkley. That might be pretty good, but I'm willing to give it up. The Chiefs' run defense is actually really good. However, the Chargers' run defense at times has been one of the worst in the NFL. There have been instances when the Chargers' run defense cannot stop a soul. And without Jesse Minter, I am a little worried that the Chargers defense takes a bit of a step back. They have been getting better under Jesse Minter, but even last year, there were instances where they were really, really vulnerable. There were times when, even against JCM, they gave up like 2 untouched rushing touchdowns. One of JCM's biggest games was actually against the Chargers. I was there in person to witness it. So I'm a little worried they go back to that. That has been their weakness over the years, and if that is possible to happen again, it would definitely bode well for Kenneth Walker at the Chargers in Week 17. So we got 2 indoor games, Cowboys at home against the Giants, and then the Chiefs on the road at the Chargers. Jamie, I'm here with you, bro. Let's go to the loony bin together. I mean, I don't know about the loony bin. I don't know about that. I got some Green Line hash burger, 34.5% THC, 34.5. Send it. Damn. I kind of feel like modern weed sometimes goes a little overboard. Once you go over 30%, it's a little crazy. I'll create you a 5-second start countdown, which is like 10 normal people time. I think what I noticed when I pivoted back to the live stream, there's actually a decent delay. There's actually a fairly decent delay. So maybe the 5 seconds just wasn't enough. I've been seeing Genty go top 5 in a few. I get it. I think at first it started off as just like you want to get different, but the Genty truthers, they believe, man. They believe. They have no reservations about that offensive line. The Tyler Linderbaum acquisition is huge, but it's just one player. Does it fix the entire O-line? I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I mean, we mentioned how Josh Allen was just going to fucking crush against the Dolphins. That's pretty locked in. That is pretty fucking locked in. So, am I going to do it? Am I going to be the team? I think I am. I'll be the Josh Allen drafter. If you tell me I make it to Week 17 with this game and I have Josh Allen against the Miami Dolphins, he fucking crushes. Like, maybe we'll have to pull it up separately. Yeah. I'll bring it in after this next pick. But I think I know where I'm going with this next pick, barring a snipe. I'm not going to say it because I know Sosky. Sosky's the only one who I think is watching in this draft. And he's right next to me. So at least on this pick, I don't think I can advertise where I'm going. He might have paid attention through the breakdown earlier. He goes Lad McConkey. Obviously, it would pair up with the Chiefs-Chargers game. However, Cowboys run defense is dog shit. Cowboys run defense is terrible. So let's go balls to the wall. Let's go all the way. Cam Scattaboo, he'll be healthy week 17. This team's going to make it, and we're going to have Cam Scattaboo in our starting lineup at the Cowboys week 17. That could be a 200-yard performance. The Cowboys are really bad in the run defense. Last year, I think they started off like the first 4 games as like overwhelmingly the easiest spot. That is one thing that I think the channel and all of the weekly adjustments and like checking in on how many fantasy points a certain team has allowed. That is where, just in the back of my mind, once I see Cowboys on the run defense matchup slate, it's like kind of instantly you want to start that player. And Scattaboo definitely has the potential of being like a 25-point lock against them. So I'll take Scattaboo. I'm not going to be afraid. With $3 down, everything in the final week, let's build a shipper, as they say. But hell yeah, watch until I fall asleep. Good luck, good luck. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you. Check out Best Ball on Call. Very fun time drafting with him. We had a great stream on our channel, so maybe that could be your next watch. Anthony, thank you for hopping in. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, bro. Doing a Chihuahua. I think it's the Pomeranian. I think that's what it's called. I believe so. Jiri says like it up. Thank you, Jiri. Check out Jiri Football. Also a friend of the channel in the So You Think You Can Tout contest. Looking forward to catch up with that. And I think his teammate this week was Rick Adoozle, if I'm not mistaken. Thanks for hopping in, Jiri. I'm a little behind on the chat, so let me catch up. Lay it down when you need to. Give me Jefferson way over Genty, says Jamie. I mean, the Jets don't have Sauce Gardner anymore, so that's a viable matchup to be chasing. Best Ball on Call says DB strength. Not sure if I recall the reference. Coaching might have just been the bad for the O-line last year too. I think this is in regards to Genty. The coaching, when you really think about it, I think was like Tom Brady's way of sabotaging the team so that they could tank and get the #1 pick. Like, if it's actually true that Chip Kelly was calling plays that didn't exist, who do you think would have approved that, huh? Wow, Swift is still here on the board. I mean, I can't say I'm in love with the Lions run defense, to be honest with you. It could be a little problematic, but this should be a big shootout. A pretty good game. And I'm willing to get back in it running back, to be honest with you. I think having that Lions-Bears matchup, just a piece of it, probably not going to do me too poorly. If I do make it, I think ultimately you're starting Swift versus the Lions. Tootin and Price come off the board, so running back was coveted. Tootin against the Commanders, that could be pretty good. But there is a Chris Rodriguez revenge game in that spot. I think C-Rod's going to be vulturing a touchdown. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe Tootin still scores his own. But if there's only one touchdown to be had that week, I might favor Rodriguez in my projections, to be honest. So strictly with the week 17 lens, that might be the direction I might rather go. But Jordan Tyson gets the Falcons. Falcons secondary is not scary. I'll do that. Now, I could see Brian Thomas against the Commanders absolutely go balls to the wall, but I don't want to take Christian Watson against Houston. That's a big red flag for Christian Watson. week 17. Chase Brown at running back 11, Hampton at 12. I get the value, but they both have easily possible higher ceilings than their ADPs. I have a decent share of each. They're absolutely worth a second-round pick. I think all the running backs in this range are worth a second-round pick. It's not the order I would have gone in this draft. This contest is a little unique, and every lobby is different. But I do think Hampton, if not for the Week 17 matchup, really has no problems that you can think of. I don't think Keaton Mitchell is really a big enough threat to worry about. And then Kimani Vidal, I don't think is stealing his job in the passing game. So all should be fine with Hampton. But the Chiefs matchup might be tough. First Down Fantasy, thank you for the $5. Appreciate you. It says, wife and I have been trying to move, and we finally sold our house today, and I shot an 80 at golf. Damn. Memorial Day to remember. Let's go. Good luck on the drafts. Thank you, bro. Shot an 80. Hell yeah. I would be on the moon if I shot an 80. I've broken 90, but I've never shot in the low 80s. So congrats, man. Especially selling your house. That's awesome, especially if you've been waiting for a long time. 4 years in the making. Hell yeah, man. Shout out First Down Fantasy, and happy Memorial Day to everyone watching. Hope y'all had a blessed holiday, and hope we can bring it to a close on a high note, at least for First Down. Sounds like an excellent day. Thank you very much for the $5. We got Jamie with a gifted membership coming in clutch today. We got Bass Fishing for Life receiving the good luck. I kind of don't want to take Dak Prescott because I'm making the argument that Josh Allen just fucking crushes, you know? In week 17, that's kind of the argument I'm making. But I still need two quarterbacks. So I'm going to take Dak Prescott. And, who knows? Maybe Josh Allen underperforms to get there. I'm one of the few teams with Josh Allen in the final, hypothetically speaking. And maybe it's because Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb really deliver in weeks 15 and 16 and carry me there. I actually don't love Josh Allen's schedule leading up to week 17. I'll have to pull it up separately. And we mentioned we were going to do that with something else. Forgot about that. But I'll pull up Allen's schedule at the very least right after this pick. Because if I'm not mistaken, it's a little tricky for him to get there. Weeks 15 and 16. All right, I'm on the clock. We do have that Chiefs-Chargers matchup looming, so I will get a bring back. Definitely want to address wide receiver. And all these players I think are very comparable, but we have the added bonus of the Week 17 shootout potential between the Chiefs and the Chargers. So Quentin Johnston it is, playing at home. Definitely spike week potential. He can score a deep touchdown. Who knows what the trade deadline is going to loom, how it's going to affect him, let alone June 1st and A.J. Brown's situation. But Quentin Johnston at the moment feels like a good pick in L.A. But we're pulling up the Bills' schedule. Here it is in week 15. They are versus Chicago. That should be a big shootout. But then in week 16, they're at Denver. I don't know if Josh Allen's going to be elite in week 16 at the Broncos. So maybe I need Dak to cover me. Who is his matchup in week 16? He will be versus Jacksonville. On Sunday Night Football at home, that should be a shootout. I'll take Dak Prescott at home versus the Jaguars. Week 16, Sunday night. And then maybe he just outperforms Allen again in week 17, but odds are Allen is going to be the guy you need. versus the Dolphins in week 17. All right. I mentioned it earlier. We'll pull up Josh Allen's stats against Miami just to perhaps convince you a little further why it's probably a really good bet if all you're trying to build is a week 17 shipper. I got the career stats right here. Okay. First season in the league. This was a game against the Dolphins. 224, 3 touchdowns. This was his rookie season. And then we'll just stick with Dolphins games. 202, 2 touchdowns. Only 14 yards rushing. But then 37-20, they won with 256 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. They're 56 and a rushing touchdown. So 4 total touchdowns, 37-20. And then you can kind of get the gist based on the scores. They beat the Dolphins 31-28. They won 56-26. I think you're going to want Josh Allen if they drop 50 points against the Dolphins. They won in 2021 35-0. He won 26-11 at home a few weeks later. They lost 19-21, shockingly. His only loss. He still had 400 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. 32-29, 304 yards, 4 touchdowns in that game. I think you get the gist. He dominates the Miami Dolphins. Maybe it goes Xavier Worthy. I could see Michael Pittman be pretty valuable. There's also Kyle Pitts. I'll go with Xavier Worthy. Let's build further into that Chiefs-Chargers game. And if Worthy hits our lineup, it's probably because he has a house call touchdown. He's not really the safest bet in your weekly lineup, but he typically can also provide a 30-point spike. So this is strictly a week 17 matchup that we're trying to build. And we're getting the bring back once again. Now, C-Rod does go. We're back on the clock. I have my 2 quarterbacks. I think I'm done with Allen and Dak. I think Kyle Pitts against the Saints probably a solid pick. Kind of want to take Kenneth Gainwell, though. But I'm going to go Kyle Pitts today. I'm going to go with Kyle Pitts. 8 spots past ADP. I don't think I take him enough when he's available to me in the 10th round. Ultimately, when you consider Kyle Pitts in round 10, it's probably a fair price. I don't know if he's going to be exactly a top 5 tight end on the season. We're drafting him as tight end 9, basically. So there's some risk baked in, but he also proved that he can drop a 40-pointer. Not many players can do that. So we're going to hit the tight end. He gets the Saints. Possibly a big shootout in division. Could be a big game. I'm not going to shy away from Kyle Pitts at 111. I've noticed my exposures lately. I'm starting to kind of pay attention now that I have over 50 drafts. And I think I've been ignoring Kyle Pitts just a little bit more than I would like. I've also probably ignored the chat longer than I would like. So let me try and speed through this. Any disc golfers here? I competed on the tour. I've met world champs and burned bowls with them. If that's not the ultimate stoner sport, I'm not sure what it is. I only play the regular golf, but awesome that you also burn bowls with some world champs. That's a dope thing to say. Late to the party, but the blunt is hand. What's up, Jamie? Dolphins defense is going to be improved. I wouldn't worry about that, delusional Vikings fan. I don't think I'd worry about that. Damn, Shakir goes at 120. This is closer to a much more appropriate price on Shakir. I think Shakir is one of the best values, but I've been getting him in the 11th, 12th round lately. I'd be getting him like pick 137. So for him to go 120, I thought I could probably just get Shakir back at 130 here. That's what I was expecting to do, not going to lie. So G for the win at the 101. Took his 5th wideout. Already had DJ Moore on his team. Takes Khalil Shakir and Mark Andrews. Respect. I think Shakir has fallen far enough where he is now just a good pick. So if you want to reach on him, it's not a bad thing to do, especially at the bookend. His next pick was 144. I've never seen Shakir fall deep into the 140s before. So if that's your guy, get your guy. Respect to it. Maybe I should have done that, but I did get a discount on Kyle Pitts. Today, it wasn't meant to be. Allen has played well and up points versus Denver in the playoffs last 2 seasons. I don't think I can bet against him. Damn it, Kincaid goes. Even the Kincaid stack was sniped for me. That's a bummer. We mentioned the Cowboys game, so maybe Tyrone Tracy is a viable candidate. But I also brought up the Jordan Mason Vikings game versus the Jets. And the thing about that Jets game, it's probably going to be a big blowout. The Vikings, I think, will dominate. So I think they probably lean on the run. Later in the season, they might be trying to preserve Aaron Jones' health, let alone he might just be off the field. Aaron Jones is what, 32 entering this year, or maybe turns 32 in December. At the very least, I think he turned 31 last December, and I don't really trust him to stay healthy. So we're going to bet against him, go Jordan Mason on that one. And then today, we're going to take Stephon Diggs, who I ultimately think is just one of the best picks on the board right now. He will sign. We don't know where, but he will sign. If it's against Arizona, I actually don't love that matchup for him against Will Johnson. That's actually a corner that could shut him down. Las Vegas at Arizona, that is. But that's definitely not locked in. I think I also just need points at the receiver position. And why not take one guy I think is just really valuable? Unless Travis Hunter just explodes and has the breakout that warrants his top 2 draft pick. You know, all the capital spent last year to get him. Not only did they take him number 2, they also traded up to get him. So unless Travis Hunter breaks out, I think Stephon Diggs has the highest potential of like a target increase that is not injury related. His role in free agency, I think still he carries a lot of gravitas in the free agent market, and veteran wideouts don't really need to sign until really like late July for me to be worried about them not having a team. So I think he's the most coveted option. I think Stephon Diggs will move up possibly like 50 picks. If you told me Stephon Diggs goes in the same range as Michael Wilson a month from now, I don't think it's impossible. So I think he's one of the last guys that you can still scoop up late and feel like you're getting a steal. And it's kind of why I push wide receiver sometimes. But he only represents one spot on the lineup. There's also nothing guaranteed. But at the moment, I do project Stephon Diggs to be well worth this ADP in the 12th round. So far, we're rocking with a 2-4-5-1. Josh Allen, Dak Prescott. I think I can get away with that. I don't think I need a third, to be honest with you. We have the Dak and CeeDee Lamb stack. Also have Jordan Tyson. He's going against the Atlanta Falcons. I have the Kyle Pitts bring back. I just remembered that. There's also that. That's good. My wide receiver 3 is Quentin Johnston. Number 4 is Xavier Worthy. And then number 5 is Stephon Diggs, who I think could be going possibly above both of them once he finally finds his landing spot. If you told me he's the Raiders wide receiver 1, isn't he going much higher than, like, would you rather have Stephon Diggs or Cortland Sutton? You know, I think that's a legit question to ask. So maybe it's somewhere else, but I'm hoping for the Raiders. Hoping for the Raiders. Do you put lots of weight on perceived defensive matchups in Week 17, or is it more of a tiebreaker, projecting what defenses will be good or bad and what and at what in January seems impossible in late May? I don't think it's a lock. I think there's obviously like a lot of luck involved. Injuries play a major role, but I do remember what history says, and there are some teams that I just don't think have addressed, you know, some of those defensive weaknesses to really expect a major change. You know, like the Cowboys are not one of those teams where I think they'll get better on defense. Although, didn't they get Sonny Styles? Maybe their run defense doesn't get better, but maybe they get better in the secondary. I'm back on the clock. I think I'm going to go with Juwan Johnson as my wide receiver 2. We already have that Saints-Falcons matchup, so let's further invest in that. And I think for the price, Juwan Johnson is an excellent pick, whether stacked or unstacked. So we get the bring back. That's enough for me. And this team feels rather balanced. I don't feel like I have a weakness anywhere. I still need some receiver depth. I'm definitely not done. I'm not done at any position except maybe quarterback. But I'm probably envisioning a 2-6-7-3, something like that. I think that'd be fine. I mean, if he's going to produce, it's going to be down the stretch. Zach Charbonnet might be the guy we need. If we're only looking at the lens of week 17, why not? I don't think I'm going to really need him to help me get there. I think I have a good enough running back room to get me there. Let's swing for the fence. I mean, at Carolina, their secondary is pretty good. Their defense is sometimes pretty good, but their run defense is historically, the last few years, been one of the worst. Run defense has actually been a very good, advantageous matchup in fantasy football. So let's just remember the trends. And obviously the trends can change. Any year can be different. But at the very least, that's all the information I can go off of. I remember in my intuition that my memory that Carolina has been a very good matchup for opposing running backs last few years in fantasy football. So maybe this year's different, but if not, then the Seahawks running back might be pretty good. And it might be Zach Charbonnet. So in this contest where I give so much more weight to week 17, that'll be more of a bigger tiebreaker. But in general, it's not really at the forefront of my mind. It's definitely just like, is this the theme of this pick? Do I really care about week 17? Or am I just trying to build out my roster? But if I'm not playing best ball, if I'm just playing redraft, I don't care about it at all. You know, I'm trying to get to the playoffs. That's the main point in your regular redraft league. So there's different strategy in both. What's up, Young Moolah? What's up, GAB for Life? Check him out on YouTube. We've had some fun, dope collabs. Awesome streamer. GAB for Life. Delusional Vikings fan, not saying he won't eat, but to assume 50 points is wild. I'm not saying the Josh Allen drops 50, but among the names capable of doing that, if you told me Allen against the Texans was his matchup week 17, I'd be very, very scared of drafting him. But against the Dolphins, that's been a spot where he crushes with like 4 total touchdowns often. So I don't think it's egregious to assume Allen has one of the safest paths to be the QB1 week 17 if it's specifically against Miami. And that's what it is. It's Buffalo versus A-Chain pretty much. That's a good way to put it. That game's not going to be competitive, but I don't think that the Bills in division will take their foot off the gas either. At this stage, it's a little tough to know exactly where to go. So I think I'm just going to go with talent. And I like Jeremy Bernard, but I also love Ted Hurst. And I think Ted Hurst has a pretty decent path to playing time. I'll take Ted Hurst. Yo, Jamie, sorry if I'm just seeing this now. $2 super chat, thank you. You'd love a smoke break. Let's do it. Smoking that sandwich. Love Pitts with a new OC, who centered the Cleveland passing game around Fannin and Njoku. Yeah, Kyle Pitts feels like he's much safer pick this year than ever before, but could still suck. It is still possible. Kind of want to just take another Tampa Bay Buccaneer. I think I'm going to go Kate Otten. I want that third tight end. I'm going to trust Allen and Dak. So 5 at the position collectively. We got 2 picks left. I think one more receiver, one more running back is the way to go. I feel good enough about my top 5. Maybe there's a weakness, but I think I only need one more. Let's bet that the Diggs click is way more valuable than the ADP suggests. Let's assume we got one of the steals of the draft with Stephon Diggs. Disc golf rules, I can toss it a good 425 feet, but the putting is tough. I imagine those finesse shots are what really separates you. And that's sometimes what really separates you in regular golf from having a good game and a bad game. Like, I didn't break 100 last time I played. I was at a new course, and there were literally like 5 lip outs. One that literally went like 340 degrees around the cup. There were a few putts that, just left on the board. Not familiar with the greens too much and just missed it by that much. So, yeah, the short game is so critical in regular and looks like disc golf as well. I've never played foot golf, where the hole's like pretty big and you play with like a soccer ball and you have to kick it. That looks kind of fun. I used to play soccer when I was a kid, but haven't played in quite a long time. It's always fun to kick something though. Blunt, you going all in LA Chargers? How many palms you in? This is my first Pomeranian of the contest. I don't think I'm going to max this contest. For $3 a pop, it's definitely easier to just rip them and not really worry too much about it. But I don't think I'm going to spend too much of my time off the live stream in the Pomeranian. And we're not always going to draft strictly in the Pomeranian. We'll probably do it most of the time. But like tonight, I'm probably only ripping palms. But I'll probably stop at like 20 or 25 Pomeranians. I can't imagine I sink more than like 60 to 75 bucks into this. When we were looking at the payout structure, if you don't finish top 100 in a 975 person final, you're not making $100. So it's fun to get them in, get some practice reps, or just try things out. But I don't know if this is where I want to sink most of my bankroll. And also time. Time is also a big factor. I kind of want to take Tyreek Hill, but we mentioned that Arizona matchup. What if Genty goes down? What if Genty goes down? Mike Washington against Arizona would probably be pretty good. So 13 picks past ADP might be worthless. Truly might be worthless. Not sure he's like an elite pick, but there aren't that many like locked in handcuffs. And at this point, one of the main reasons you're drafting a running back is trying to bet on injury risk. That applies to everyone at a basic baseline rate. Genty is not excluded from that factor. So we'll go Mike Washington today. Don't have a ton of him. I might go Tyreek Hill, but that feels kind of desperate. Maybe I go Keon Coleman just for the sake of it. I get it in too late. We go Tyreek Hill, and at the very least, when I take Tyreek Hill, I want it to be the final round. He might be an absolute zero. He really might be. So that's why I'm never reaching on Tyreek Hill. But he's also not someone that I want to completely fade. And I've noticed that if I just let him fall to the final round, and if he's on the board in round 18, I feel like he's a viable, legitimate click at this point in time. I'm underweight on Tyreek Hill. I'm not going to tell you that Tyreek Hill is a must draft all the time, that he's one of the best picks on the board. But if he comes back and he's able to do Tyreek Hill things, if his speed is actually not truly impacted he could be a difference maker when it matters most. So not sure where he's going to play or if, but I think there's a chance he comes back. There's also a chance it's with the Kansas City Chiefs, and I do think it's worth a final round click. I wish it was round 20, but that's not how this goes on Underdog. It's only 18 rounds in this format, so he's our wide receiver 7. We'll see, but final round of the draft, I think it's worth a shot. Calvin Ridley's interesting, but if he stays in Tennessee, I think I'd rather have Tyreek Hill. If you told me Calvin Ridley got traded, though, I think he could be a really valuable asset, potentially. I think it's too crowded in Tennessee, and after last year, I think he's probably just mentally ready to let somebody else take over, if he can. But might be chasing another contract, so might be willing to step it up if he moves on. There might be a mutual decision to part ways with Ridley and the Titans. I wouldn't be shocked if that happened. But let me catch up with the chat. Jamie says, smoke it. W take on the Vikings-Jets game. They might not score. They're probably going to be up 25 to like 6 at some point in the game. Now, maybe that's fourth quarter, but maybe that's halftime. And, you know, maybe by the end of the third quarter, some of the starters are taking a seat. You know, maybe there's not that many touches available for someone like Aaron Jones. Maybe Jordan Mason is leaned on a little bit more. At the very least, the game script will probably favor running the ball. And that's where I do think Jordan Mason actually offers some Week 17 appeal. I think in the context of this format, especially, some Week 17 appeal applies with Jordan Mason. We should be aiming to advance 75% plus of entries in the Pomeranian if we max. What do you think? I mean, we got to finish top 4. That gives you 25%. So to assume you're 3 times better than the crowd, that checks out. That math checks out. You got to be confident. That's for sure. Jets going to light teams up this season. I don't know about that. Kate Otten is one of my favorite clicks down here. He's a safe pick. I don't know if he's like going to dominate, but just from a pure like volume standpoint every week, I think with someone like Pitts, who could be a little, you know, up and down every week, I think having good volume guys like Juwan and Cade, I think for the value, it makes sense in this type of build. But putting is the game. Long putts are money. Yeah, if you can sink a 20-plus footer, you are cashing. But typically, if you can just 2-putt or, you know, better on every hole, if you can limit any 3-putt opportunities to bare minimum only like 1 per round or 0 ideally, then you're going to score. You're going to score pretty well. I use foot golf at least once a hole, kicking that shit to a better lie. When I play with my best friend Angus, Angus and I have an agreement. We have 3 mulligans on the round, and then 2 like lie improvements. So like if you just hit it like right behind a tree and you really have like no shot, like we'll give you, you know, a club length's distance just to improve the lie. We give each other 2 of those. Most of the time we don't even end up using all of them, but that's just like the gentleman's agreement, because, you know, we're not pros. We want to enjoy ourselves, and you gotta let someone have a mulligan every now and then between friends. But A-Rod coming in with a $10 super chat. Thank you, homie. Appreciate it. It says, rate my palm draft with quarterbacks Burrow, Daniels, and Shuck. That's pretty elite. Running backs, Jeremiah Love, Travis Etienne, Manungai, Gainwell, Sampson. Not too bad. I'm not in love with Jeremiah Love, no pun intended, but a little worried about his offense. I love the Gainwell click, though. And then Sampson I don't take too often. But Manungai I do think has value where he's going. Wide receiver with Jamar Chase, Terry McLaurin, Alec Pierce, Ricky Pearsall, Jalen McMillan, Zachariah Branch, and Tyreek Hill. That final click on Tyreek Hill, I mean, I just took it. So for both of our sake, I hope that works out. Wide receivers a little bit thin beyond Alec Pierce, though. Pearsall could either be like elite or just like last year, just so injury prone. But you got the Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow stack. I hope the Ravens defense allows you to go off in the final week. Gadsden, Okonkwo, and Njoku, so both Chargers tight ends, not too shabby. Okonkwo's super valuable, stacked up with Daniels. Might like this team with, like, instead of Gadsden, maybe take a wide receiver there, so there's just a little bit more capital spent, perhaps, and then maybe swap out Gadsden with, like, Juwan Johnson, where probably you took Jalen McMillan, if I had to guess. Like, that's the only thing that could come to mind. And then maybe just, like, if Jeremiah Love is the guy you need, I'm not going to do very well. I'll tell you that. I'm not drafting a ton of Jeremiah Love. So if you love him, he's super talented, but he's not my favorite click, to be honest with you. I'm a little afraid of the Arizona backfield. All right. I will take a look at Soski's team and then draft another one. I feel like we're probably coming up on the right time to do that. Soski was right behind me at pick 11, and then we'll hop into one more Pomeranian. And hit that like button if you want a third. If we go over 40 likes, we got 56 watchers, we will do a third draft. We're at 22 likes right now. How about we hit 44 likes, double it, and we do draft number 3. We are on to draft number 2 right after this. Jackson Dart, Tyler Shuck, Fernando Mendoza, and Daniel Jones in the Pomeranian. That might be a little much, but you did get Daniel Jones at a big discount. I think I would have only taken one, but Mendoza stacked up with Genty, also nobody else. You only have 5 receivers in this? Brother, I don't know, man. I don't know if I would have done that, Soski. Genty, Henry, Tootin, Manungai, Corum, Randall. So you spent early on running back, and you only have 5 receivers? Olave, Ladd McConkey, Alec Pierce, Travis Hunter, Zachariah Branch. I don't think so. Dallas Goedert, Eli Stowers, and Theo Johnson. Yeah, at least Mendoza had to be someone else, but you took too many running backs too early to only have 5 wideouts. That's my take on it. I would not bet on Soski's team to make it. Only have to finish 4th. So maybe he threads the needle, but if one of them misses just like 1 or 2 games, you know, like if Ladd McConkey misses a 3-game stretch, you might be dead. Because Travis Hunter might be worthless. Branch will get some targets, but might be worthless. I don't know. I would not feel too good about it, even with only 4 out of 12 needing to advance. I don't love it, Soski. Not enough receivers. All right. With that, we're going to hop into one more Pomeranian, and I'll give you just a few seconds to get situated, but I told you I was going to do it, so if you're not ready now, maybe you never will be, I'll give you a 10-second countdown because we are on a delay. So I will be joining the $3 Pomeranian, where all the money is made, week 17, in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 4 spots left. Definitely a chance to hop in if you want it. And this one will definitely have more of y'all. That's for sure. 50 entries get 6 to 10 to the finals. Who knows? Yeah, but there's... here's the thing. I think you can make the final in this. I think you can easily make the final in this. I don't think it's crazy to assume you make the final. But you have to finish top 30 in a pool of like 1,000 people. That's still pretty slim odds. It's not that you can't do it, but it might be tough. Bass Fishing for Life gifted a membership earlier today, has the 101. I'm at the 112, the bookend on the opposite side. We got Julio 1806. Let me know if you're drafting with us. We got Ken Bean. P Punch at the 104. Welcome in, P Punch. Niners fan 05 at the 105. That's got to be a good spot to be Niners fan 05 at pick 5. That's probably the best case scenario. Shoddy 247 at the 106. Saints to Death. I think we've drafted with Saints to Death before. King Dumond. I think I recognize you. Super Beast always in here when he gets the chance. Welcome in. And then Hallie Lion. Good to see you. And then 32 years of losing at the 111 right in front of me. If he's Been losing for 32 years. That's a good streak. That's definitely going to benefit me to have him right next to me. So pick 11, probably best case scenario for yours truly, but we got a lot of friends and family. Best of luck to y'all. May the best man win. But we only have to finish top 4 to move on, and I hope all 4 who make it are in the blunt rotation. A-Rod just took Tyreek with his last pick. 50K, a little more than site credits. No, the 50K prize is not bad at all. 50K pre-tax. Always pre-tax. The Jedi Loco. Are you in this draft with us? Let me know. About to be on the clock. Might go CeeDee Lamb again. We mentioned how good the matchup is, but instead we'll go Genty. We'll get the actual Las Vegas running back for that Arizona matchup. We'll take Genty today at pick 12. And then I think I'll pair him with Derrick Henry. I think I want the Arizona Cardinals for Ashton Genty, and I want the Cincinnati Bengals for Derrick Henry. Genty and Henry. That's got a nice ring to it. Let's go with that. Ashton Genty, Derrick Henry. The only bummer is that they both have a week 13 bye. That is the only downside. Jackson Review says, do you know Mason? The creator of Fantasy Flock, and I love him, so I'm sure you're great too. I'm aware of Mason. I've spoken to him very briefly on Twitter in the DMs, but I don't know him personally. Mad respect to the Fantasy Flock. Awesome channel. I haven't caught one of his live streams in a while. Just haven't had the time. But last year, I was trying to get in his lobbies for quite some time. It can be tough. But yeah, mad respect to Mason. Shout out the Fantasy Flock. Appreciate you, Jackson. Delusional Vikings fan says, we don't have anyone else to grind besides Mason. You're not running Claiborne or Jones that much. Are we... Right. This is Jordan Mason. I think Claiborne could be a problem, but ultimately Jordan Mason's the safest to stay healthy. So in week 17 against the Jets with probably good game script, I would assume he probably gets a decent amount of volume. But good evening, Ever in Flux. How we doing? Mason might actually be the winning click this year if Kyler lifts the floor. If we can get a James Conner level season out of Jordan Mason, I think we'd be in excellent shape. But I don't know if that's a guarantee. I really don't know. Jordan Mason just couldn't outplay Aaron Jones last year. And maybe it was just the J.J. McCarthy dilemma of the offense just being dog shit. But if it's a split backfield, we might just never see the true ceiling. We're hoping to get Niners Jordan Mason. You know, like we're really hoping that those first 8 games 2 years ago when Christian McCaffrey had his Achilles tendonitis situation and he just wasn't on the field. That's what we're really hoping for. But that's just hard to project until Aaron Jones goes down. And then maybe Damon Claiborne can just be so good in the passing game that he keeps Jordan Mason off the field enough. But Mason doesn't catch passes. In a full PPR league, you might not want to trust Jordan Mason too much. Everyone Flux taking a hit to catch up. Appreciate you. Got a Baltimore Ravens team on the overflow draft projected over 3K points. Good luck. The projections, however, don't mean shit. I'll say that many times on the channel over the course of the year. The projections don't mean shit. Love about to smash elite talent over everything. The team is... It's like Ashton Genty last year, man. It's the Genty situation. That's what I'm worried about. The Genty situation. Last year, Genty could not overcome. Despite his talent, I would argue Genty's even more talented than Jeremiah Love. The situation might not be able to overcome. Bass Fishing is in. Halley line at the 10. We got Delusional. Delusional, you're Julio. Is it Julie? I don't know how to say it. But you're in it 2, P-Punch in it 4. Young Moolah taking the palm down, smash the like. gotten the underflow. Dang. What's up, DJ Quill? Thanks for popping in. I would have loved taking Chris Olave there, but you know what? Pick 36. I think I got to buy the dip. Ultimately, I think I got to buy the dip. It doesn't feel good, but I think that's what I need to do. Because I don't have many shares of Rashee Rice. I really don't. So, with that in mind, maybe we just chase that matchup again. I think so. I'll go Lad McConkey. Ladidi McConkey. You know what I saw today? I watched Shrek, the original Shrek, in the movie theater today. 25th anniversary. Playing maybe in a theater near you. I believe for the next until the end of the week. I think Shrek is still playing. I saw Shrek in theaters today, and there was the famous line that makes me think of Shrek every time I see Lad McConkey. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. So we took Lad McConkey and Rashee Rice. That'll do, McConkey. That'll do. Chiefs-Chargers matchup should be lit. Finally got in draft with you. I'm the 5-hole. Chad is Niners fan 05. Salute to you. We did clear the bowl earlier, so actually no. I have enough left in it, so let's take a rip for Chad P, who finally joined us in a draft. Pepper Tony is a donkey on the edge. I thought you were goose on the edge. I thought you were goose on the loose. Donkey on the edge? Hendy or Judkins in Dynasty? Ooh. Good question. They're both so good. They're both really, really good. But ultimately, I think the Patriots have the better situation. Long term, as long as, you know, as long as Mike Vrabel doesn't go down in disgrace, I think I'd rather just bet on the New England Patriots. I'm gonna go Henderson, but I could see this year still possibly lean in favor of Judkins. There's a chance that Ramondre does not go away, but I think the player I've liked going into last year's draft, the player I ranked higher personally, is Travion. But at the moment, delusional Vikings fan going with Judkins. I think you can probably project more touches on a week-to-week basis right now for Judkins. But in Cleveland, I'm just not convinced that they're as valuable as in New England. But Judkins is in much less of a timeshare. I still believe, though, that Henderson will win the job and not look back. I think at some point, Henderson might just dominate. And if you told me he got Quinshon Judkins volume, I think he would. I think he'd be more valuable. We went with Tyson on the last one. I do really like Tyson, but there's some weird Brian Thomas rumors going on. I'm going to take Brian Thomas. There's two teams that reportedly are in discussion with him, have called, and the Jags are talking about it. It would make sense for them to trade him away, just from like a where's the ball gonna go standpoint, but it also makes plenty of sense for them to keep him. But I'm gonna go Brian Thomas and Jordan Tyson here. We're gonna pass on Bishal Tuten today. Going to pass. I'm not sure if that's correct. Bishal Tuten should be great, probably worth taking, but I have Genty and I have Derrick Henry. I'm gonna just trust that they're gonna be awesome. And then we got Hallie Light coming in with a blunt rotation membership. Welcome. Thank you for joining. We have 3 new members tonight. Jamie with his own sub and a gifted sub, and then Hallie Lion. Thank you for joining. Pierce all for BTJ. Both need fresh starts. That'd be interesting. I don't know if they will strictly want a wide receiver back. I think they would love some really big, high-end draft picks and maybe, another player to address a certain weakness perhaps, but who knows? Who knows? One more draft after the Jedi. Let me check the likes. We mentioned a like goal. We're at 32 likes, so 10 of y'all hit the like button. Our like goal for draft number 3 is 44. We have 63 watchers, 32 likes. So if 12 of y'all can hit that like button for me, we will do one more draft. We are in round 6 currently, so y'all have time. But at 44 likes, we will lock in draft number 3. But thank you for joining the Blunt Rotation. Really appreciate it, Hallie. And am I pronouncing it correctly? I'm pretty sure it's Hallie Lion. But I suppose there's part of me that wants to kind of go Halilian. Okay, there, yeah. Halilian, like a chameleon. But okay, it's just as straightforward. Sweet. Glad I got it correct. 5 palms, 4 out of 5 with Tootin. We're leading this wagon to the end. The Tootin Truthers never gonna part with their king. Last year I was a bit of a Tootin Truther, but that was in like what the 12th round, I believe. Kind of a different situation. I mentioned it earlier, and we're trying to set up the week 17 matchup. Perhaps I should have just gone with double Jaguar in that instance. Maybe just taking 2 Jaguars was the move. But then in the last lobby, we mentioned that maybe the revenge game for Chris Rodriguez sets up a touchdown there. Vultured away from Baishal Tootin. Maybe they also try to prove a point. Maybe Chris Rodriguez scores multiple touchdowns. Maybe he's not active, though. Maybe he misses time, and maybe Tootin's the guy you need. Maybe Baishal Tootin misses time. Maybe he's the one you need. I'm not sure, but I am pretty sure I'm going to take Justin Herbert here. We have Ladd McConkey, and one team I'm really hopeful is in conversation with Jacksonville about Brian Thomas would be the Chargers. I would really love if that's what happened. So I will take Justin Herbert stacked up with Ladd. And then I'm also going to go with another quarterback. I think I'm going to go Patrick Mahomes here. I think so. There's part of me that wants to take Rico Dowdle, though. He's kind of my boy. You know what? Fuck it. We passed on running back for a minute. Rico Dowdle's one of my favorite RB3s. And I just remembered I don't have either of my running backs in week 13. So maybe I should address that with someone I trust. We're going to be in a much different situation at the running back position with our next 2 picks. 108 and 109 are 24 picks after where I took Justin Herbert. So could have definitely just gone with Mahomes, but I can only start one quarterback in week 17. Let's go with Herbert today. And I'm definitely not getting Mahomes to circle back, but it's not the end of the world. It's not a problem. Is it crazy? I have Genty ranked 7th looking at his numbers from last year in the updated situation. I think he'll score 300 plus fantasy points. I don't think it's crazy, but I think similar to my belief in Hampton, there's a lot of projection involved, like if that's what you think, if that's what you believe, then trust your gut. There's nothing wrong with having conviction, planting your flag, and, going with your guy. When Genty breaks out, when he finally lives up to his true potential, he can 100% be not just top 7, but maybe top 2 overall. Genty's that good. So if that's what you believe, go for it. I kind of want to see what the Raiders offense kind of looks like personally before I go anointing him that high. So that's where I feel differently about it. But, I'm trying to project with other guys too. I could also be wrong. I don't think it's crazy at all. I think Genty's one of those names that is a dark horse to be the RB3 and potentially even the RB1. If everything really broke perfectly for Genty, I could see a 2,000-yard season from him. I don't think it's out of the cards that we'll get that one of these years. You know, we finally got it at a Saquon. Don't think it's impossible with Ashton Genty. Will it happen year one in the Clint Kubiak Raiders offense? That, you know, yet to be determined. I thought last year was just so bad, and their offensive line isn't just like elite enough all of a sudden for me to put him that high. But I don't think you're crazy to believe it. Hit the fucking like button, fellas. Welcome to the rotation. Pass it to the left. Puff, puff, pass. Don't bogard the joint. As long as it keeps moving, we're chilling. Good vibes. That's what I'm talking about. Have I drafted with you before, Hallie Lion? Gonna be tooting that horn all the way down the cliff. First down fantasy, not a believer in Beischel tooting, apparently. What am I drafting? We're drafting the $3 Pomeranian that just dropped today, Jeremy. So I know you probably want a BBM, but our third draft will indeed be another $3 Pom. The Fantasy Roundup. Shout out the Fantasy Roundup. Fun channel. I've popped into some streams there. Sharp drafter. Yeah, we're as far away as possible, Bassfish. We're kind of... Wow. Y'all let Mahomes come back? Y'all are nice. Wow. I have to take him then. 108, Patrick Mahomes? Yep, I'll do that. Especially with Rashi. Now the question is, do I just take Travis Kelce here? Or do I take the guy I planned to take all along when I passed on Beischel Tootin? I think that's what I'm going to do. Y'all were nice to me on Patrick Mahomes. Maybe y'all just don't like the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think it'll happen, but I'll push my luck on Travis Kelce and just take who I always planned to go with. I thought I was going to go with Tyler Shuck, honestly. The plan was to go Tyler Shuck, Chris Rodriguez at 108, 109. Would have loved to take all three, but I don't think I wanted to double tap quarterback there. Only have to finish top 4, so I don't think this is a contest where I feel desperate to have 3 quarterbacks. I think I can get away with 2 when I have Herbert and Mahomes. They could both finish top 5. It's not out of the question. So I think I'll probably stop with that. I think I can probably finish top 4 with just Herbert and Mahomes. But then receiver, we took 4 in a row. We took Rashi, Ladd McConkey, Brian Thomas Jr., Jordan Tyson, and who knows, maybe Brian Thomas Jr. is traded for some draft picks, and Quentin Johnston pretty soon. Who knows? Maybe, just maybe, that's what happens. But Genty, Derrick Henry, Rico Dowdle, Chris Rodriguez, I'm liking the team. We get the C-Rod revenge game week 17. I think he will drop a touchdown. At least I'll be ranking it that way. As long as he's healthy, I will be hyping up the C-Rod revenge game week 17 in the championship game. I do know, Jeremy, I'm very aware. Jeremy, you're the only one that like makes me feel bad for not drafting more BBMs, in all honesty. But for the sake of my bankroll, we got June, July, and August still left, and I'm still not planning to draft more than like 30 BBMs total. Not gonna lie, Best Ball Mania is not the tournament I'm trying to max out. It's more appealing this year, but last year I didn't even do 10 BBMs. I did 9 last year, if you can believe that. Was not my go-to. I might be doing some pit bulls very soon. You know what? Okay, we're at 40 likes, so we're still actually not hitting draft number 3 yet. I see 40 likes. I mentioned 44 is our target. We got 57 watchers, so if 4 of you hit the like button, I will put it up to a poll. Will we do a $3 Pomeranian or a $20 pit bull? Or an $8 Dachshund? How about that? Because I'm much more interested in maxing the pit bull. You can only do 10 pit bulls. I haven't done one yet. We can do one on the stream. If y'all get me there, which I think now that I mentioned it another time, we'll probably hit it for sure. But Draft number 3. At 44 likes. Pom. Pitbull. Or the Dachshund. Saints to Death was not willing to let me have it. Really didn't expect it. But Travis Kelce goes 127. I haven't seen Kelce fall back to the 132. Haven't seen it. Yeah, we're sitting at 42 likes right now, so we need 2 more. 2 more. You know who has been the best fucking tight end matchup in the league for a minute? The Cincinnati Bengals. So I'll go Mark Andrews in week 17 against Cincinnati. Unstacked, I don't give a shit. I'm taking him. I might go Oronde Gadsden here, but also maybe push it. My receiver room could use some help. I'm gonna take Jaden Higgins. Don't love it, but falling past ADP by 9 spots, a pretty solid value in the 12th round. And last year, I loved him. Last year, I really liked him. So maybe I'm just bitter. Maybe I'm just, in my feels too much about it. I've been fading Jaden Higgins hard. Haven't taken him anywhere close to last season. And last year, it took me a minute to kind of warm up to him as well. So maybe I'll catch up over the coming months. I've been really avoiding it. But the thought process still applies. There's still a breakout chance for him. Christian Kirk has left the offense, so that opens the door. Do we really trust Tank Dell? Not too much. I would have loved to see his best games actually come with CJ Stroud in terms of volume. His best game with CJ Stroud, he only caught 2 passes. One of them was a house call, but it was week 17, so maybe we should hope for that to repeat. And overall, the volume can significantly increase with no more Christian Kirk. But Christian Kirk also missed some time last year. It didn't really matter. Tank Dell could be a big problem. Jaden Higgins just might not be that good. But this late, Stephon Diggs is off the board. Khalil Shakir is off the board. Even Travis Hunter is off the board. So not that many amazing options. And considering Jalen Coker will face the Seahawks, not the best matchup. Rashid Shaheed will face Carolina, also not the best matchup. We'll take Jaden Higgins. The Packers, weather could be a problem, but their secondary is not the scariest imaginable. So they're going to have their hands full with Nico Collins. Maybe Jaden Higgins does pop off, but maybe I have enough receivers in my lineup already where he just helps me get there. He's not in my lineup week 17. Maybe he just helps me arrive to the championship. I still have to advance. I still need the points at receiver. But the Jedi Loco says in 3 BBMs, he's only drafted 3 so far. I've drafted, I believe, 9. I think I'm already at the amount that I've drafted last year. I did 8, and then I had the free entry that I earned on Thursday. That was my 9th Best Ball Mania. But Jeremy says, I'm glad going hard on DK. Haven't done that many BBMs. It's a fair strategy. Isn't there more money available if you win DK? Isn't like 3 million up for grabs, if I'm not mistaken? But thank you, P-Punch, for hitting that like. We're at 47 likes, so we have locked in draft number 3. Go ahead and vote in the poll if you want to draft with us. At the moment, the Pomeranian is winning, but there's only 16 votes and 57 watching. So if you want to decide on a different draft, go ahead and hit the poll. Your choice will decide. But the Jedi wants the Pitbull. We're not going to get CJ Stroud at a good price. That's unfortunate. That would have been a pretty solid stack there. I don't have that many tight ends, but I do have a Jaguar We invested in that Jaguars Commanders game. So I'm going to go Brenton Strange here. I think that feels like a strong option. And then I think I'm going to further invest in that game once again. Our running back room feels good enough. And I think Rodriguez and Dowdle can carry me week 13. I'm not going to get desperate. I already took Sharbs on one of these teams. I'm not going to do it twice in a row. And I think with Andrews, I'm not dying to grab the third tight end right now. I'm going to go Antonio Williams, another Commanders-Jaguars matchup investment. And at this point, there's no way Antonio Williams circles back to me. But right now, he is the wide receiver 2 in Washington. So the rookie I was actually taking quite a bit in the big board in round 18. I'm pretty sure I finished with about 10% Antonio Williams in the big board before he got drafted to Washington. So I'm happy about that. I was definitely scrolling down and bringing him in. I think the price increase is fair. Ultimately, what is the difference between round 14 and round 18? If this was an auction format, maybe $1. You know, like maybe that's the difference between a $1 pick and a $2 selection. But odds are it's still a $1 pick. So I don't really see the problem with it. There's not many stacking partners with Jaden Daniels. And at the moment, the volume is probably safe to project. So I understand why he's risen. And we have to wait till pick 180. He will not make it back. It all makes sense to justify it, especially investing in the Jaguars Commanders game. So far in this draft, we have Brian Thomas, assuming he's still a Jaguar. We also have Chris Rodriguez going against his former team, the revenge narrative. Brenton Strange. The Commanders defense doesn't really scare you, so maybe they give up a touchdown to the tight end that week. And then Antonio Williams, if there is one strength the Jaguars defense had last year, it was defending the run. Assuming that doesn't change, you would much rather have a receiver against Jacksonville than a running back. So let's stick with that. I hope it all checks out. But we're coming up on 50 likes. Y'all are awesome. Thank you so much for liking the stream, sticking with me. We have 58 people watching, and I appreciate every single one of you. Y'all are dope. Dope as fuck. Tonight, with the super chats and the memberships gained, thank y'all for tuning out, for coming out and tuning in, I should say. I think that's more accurate. But BBM, just so we get one vote. I did not want to commit to the BBM. I haven't entered a single Pitbull yet. So that's where I'd be more excited to do that tonight, in all honesty. A blessing I got in the underflow. I am drafting the motherfucking winner, smacking the hell out of this draft. Are you going to let us know how it goes, Young Moolah? Now I'm curious. Now I need to know. The Jedi is maxed on the Dachshund. Most people are maxed. It's not going to be open too long. But Pepper Tony says $3 yawn. Pitbull it up. It's Monday night. This contest just dropped. If it's close, then we'll do the Pitbull. But I'm not checking the poll results as of yet. If it's close, then maybe I'll override y'all's decision. Maybe I'll do a Pitbull. But surely the one Dachshund vote was a mistake. I have done 3, but I'm 23 in on DK. DK main over BBM. Yeah, DK doing a do 5, get 1 free again. That's not a bad deal. Not a bad deal. Especially if you know you're going to do a bunch anyways. As long as that's part of the plan, then it's not a bad deal. All right. I think I'm just going to take David Njoku because at the turn, I don't expect him to make it back to me at the end of the 17th round. Let's take that stack with Justin Herbert. And then, I should probably grab a running back. Katron's kind of interesting. I do like Sean Tucker, though. I think Sean Tucker actually has, like, a path to contribute, let alone hit your lineup in just week 17. So I'm going to go Sean Tucker. I think Sean Tucker, in my personal ranks, I do have above Katron, and I'm just really not trying to draft the Cleveland handcuff too often. So I'll go Sean Tucker today. I like him this late. And sometimes he's still there at pick 204, but I don't really see the point of waiting. Don't think it matters too much. I just want to lock up my 5th and final running back. That's my main objective here. So I'm rocking a 2, 5, 6, 3. I might grab a 6th running back, excuse me. But does my receiver room feel good enough? With Rashee Rice, Ladd McConkey, Brian Thomas Jr., Jordan Tyson. Pretty solid. But Jaden Higgins, Antonio Williams, not much is guaranteed there. I think this team could use an 8th receiver. We got Genty and Derrick Henry. They're going to carry me pretty far. Rico Dowdle, Chris Rodriguez, I think are good values where they're going. Going to contribute in the flex a decent amount. And then Sean Tucker, I think, is a good running back 5. I think you can stop with that. I don't think it's crazy to stop with that. If you want a 6th, go for it. Be my guest. It's a bit of a luxury, but it's not one you can't afford. The question is, do I need the 3rd quarterback? And I don't think I do. I think just trusting that Mahomes will be good. He might miss some time early in the season. His bye week is in week 5, so might have just a very slow start. But Justin Herbert, weeks 1, 2, and 3 is against Arizona. That's going to crush. Against the Raiders, that's going to dominate as well. And then week 3 is at Buffalo. While they might not win that game is probably a big shootout and definitely a big test. So first 3 games, I think Herbert's going to be very good. And by week 4, I think Mahomes might have a cushy matchup, if I recall. Then he'll be on bye. And I think Herbert has another easy matchup. So I'm hoping for the best, but perhaps Mahomes early on doesn't give me enough, and maybe I get screwed. But I don't think I'm desperate for that final quarterback. We don't have Kyle Pitts on this one, so I don't think I can really justify the Tua click. I guess I could, ultimately he's one of the final starting quarterbacks perhaps, but I don't think I want it. I think that's the main argument. I don't think I want it on this team. I'm going to just trust that Herbert and Mahomes are enough. So I think it's just 2 receivers to close it out. And one of them is going to be Brendan Thompson. I'll take him right now. And then the other one is going to be Tyquan Thornton. We're going to go with a Chief and a Charger, just another stacking commitment. I have Rashee Rice, Tyquan Thornton. I have Ladd McConkey. I have Brendan Thompson. I do have David Njoku. I do not have Travis Kelce. I do not have Xavier Worthy. I do not have Quentin Johnston or Trey Harris or Oronde Gadsden. But I don't think my stacks are overcommitted. We got 2 receivers on both teams. No running backs. And then only 1 tight end for very, very cheap. I like this team. Herbert, Mahomes, Genty, Derrick Henry, Rico Dowdle, Chris Rodriguez, Sean Tucker. Feels good enough. And then we get Arizona week 17, Cincinnati week 17. The Titans, also maybe not the toughest run defense. Robert Saleh might really turn them around. But maybe week 17 we just get C-Rod in the lineup in that revenge spot. Sean Tucker against the Rams, I think might not be the best spot, but could just be good enough in Tampa where he helps me advance and make it to the final round. But wide receiver room with 8 of them, I think a good enough depth chart to get it done. And enough up top, I feel good about it. Rashee Rice at pick 36, Ladd McConkey at pick 37, BTJ Jordan Tyson at the next turn, Jaden Higgins, Antonio Williams, Brennan Thompson, and Tyquan Thornton in the final 2 rounds. And then tight end with 3 of them feels pretty strong. We have Mark Andrews against the Ravens. Against the Bengals week 17. They have had the worst tight end defense in the league the last 2 seasons. For fantasy purposes, you always start tight ends against Cincinnati. That being said, I started Isaiah Likely against Cincinnati last year in week 17. He got me a bagel. So maybe it's overblown, but I do think it's a matchup to chase. Then we have Brenton Strange. That Jags Commanders matchup might come in the clutch, though. And then David Njoku, another Charger for that Chargers-Chiefs game. I like this team. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it was well built, a lot of bringbacks, and it's built around only like 2 or 3 games. Like we got the Chargers game, we got the Ravens game, and then the Jags game against Washington. That's really it. And that might be enough. All right, a lot of y'all are in here with me, so let's start with our members. We got Hallie Lyon at pick 10, and I'll try to get to everyone, but I'm going to start with the members for sure. He goes Lamar Jackson, Cam Ward. I think with Lamar in this contest, I think we can push just 2 QBs. Only have to finish top 4, so you have an advantage drafting Lamar that early. Lean into it, and then Cam Ward I think is one of the values for the price. Jonathan Taylor, Ken Walker in the first 2 rounds, Cam Scatterboot in the 4th round, so 3 running backs early. I had a team just like this the first time around. And then Tyler Algier, Damon Claiborne, not bad. I think waiting that late after you invest so much at running back, 3 in the first 4 rounds makes plenty of sense. I like stopping at 5. Zay Flowers, Carnell Tate, we got both of them stacked up. Jordan Addison, Michael Wilson, Casey Concepcion, Stephon Diggs, one of my favorite clicks. Wish I got him on my team. Ryan Flournoy and Jacoby Lane. Not bad. We got another Ravens stack. And yesterday, when we were live with Who Hames, right as I was dipping out, DJ Quill, Ravens fan, popped in, asked her who she trusted as the rookie to own in Baltimore. She did favor Jacoby Lane, higher draft capital. Also gave a shout out to Tez Walker, but when it came to the rookies, the question I specifically asked, she did favor Jacoby Lane. So on this channel, we'll probably trust her insight, probably go Jacoby Lane most of the time. Harold Fannin in Cleveland at pick 106. I think an appropriate fall, probably where he should be going, but very valuable past the pick 100. We got Kenyon Sadiq on this team and Gunnar Helm for the stack as well. Well-built team, no real issues. I like the receiver depth quite a bit. Running back depth is super strong, and then stopping at 2 quarterbacks allowed for all the depth everywhere. And then Algier, Claiborne could be super valuable going late. I like the swing with Claiborne. The rookie in Minnesota could get some touches for sure. All right, so good team, Mr. Lyon. We're also going to review Super Beast team. I'm pretty sure Super Beast is one of the members, if I'm not mistaken. Joe Burrow and Bo Nix also went with the 2583 build. Can't complain. That's what I took myself. We got James Cook, Chase Brown, Kyron Williams, Brian Robinson, and Mike Washington. I took Big Mike on the last team, and I'm always in favor of B-Rob. You start off 3 straight running backs in the first 4 rounds. This price on Kyron Williams was fucking awesome. So I let him slide. Maybe I should have taken him myself. Honestly, I kind of wish I took Kyron a little bit, but I liked my team even without him. It is what it is, but very strong with these 3 receivers. Had T. Higgins, Christian Watson. We mentioned the Houston matchup for Christian Watson. I'm actually not too excited about that the more I think about it. At home in January against the Houston Texans. Could be a problem for Mr. Watson. Cortland Sutton, probably going to avoid the Christian Gonzalez matchup, though. Could be the receiver you need against the Patriots week 17. QJ, like him. You took him above ADP, pick 88, but definitely worth 6 picks higher. I like that click quite a bit. Wandale at 105. Pulled him up. Don't see that too often. He's been falling lately, but I do like him. I still trust Wandale quite a bit. Jalen Coker, wide receiver 6, always feels strong. And then Jeremy Bernard in Pittsburgh. Zachariah Branch, 2 valuable rookies. Very strong late round clicks. Receiver room collectively is really good. The only one that makes me a little worried is Watson's value week 17. You can still get it done, though, without him in the lineup. You only have to start 3 minimum. So he might not be in the lineup against Houston. It is what it is. He can still help you get there. Goddard, one of my favorite clicks. Gadsden, you didn't let me have him, but at 153, a full round past ADP, I don't blame you for taking him. And then Mike Gesicki, stacked up, indeed. Yep, nice little stack to close it out. Pretty good team. No complaints. Running back room makes a lot of sense Wide receiver room, very, very useful. And then tight end is very nice. Good team, Super Beast. Good fucking team. We got Bass Fishing, who is awarded a membership earlier today. So we'll take a look at him for our members. They get priority. We have Drake May, Jared Goff at the 101. Also stopped with 2. That seems to be the move. He does go 6 running backs, 7 wide receivers, though. So a little bit different build, but also 3 tight ends on this team. Jameer Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, Ramondre Stevenson, Pacheco for the Detroit handcuff. If Gibbs goes down, we know Pacheco is a player you want. Ray Davis if James Cook goes down, and then Kalen Black if McCaffrey goes down. But I will say this. I think I'm leaning towards Jordan James in San Fran, but typically the Niners running back always gets hurt. Even if it's the handcuff you miss on early in the season, you can still hit with the RB3 in San Francisco. They always go down in Kyle Shanahan's system. So he's still probably worth a click. 193 off the board. I'd rather go Jordan James, though. Nico Collins, Jamison Williams, Rome Odunze. That Lions-Bears matchup looks pretty tempting. You took Xavier Worthy at 97. Didn't let me get him, but that's fine. I had Rashi already. Romeo Dobbs and Deebo Samuel. Malachi Fields as your final click. Interesting. I haven't seen Fields taken too often, but the last click of the draft, not bad. Dalton Kincaid, Hunter Henry, and Dalton Schultz. Pretty solid depth, but in terms of like having a truly elite option every week, that is never guaranteed with this trio. Schultz is like the ultimate floor play, good number 3 option. Hunter Henry can be a top 10 tight end, but very touchdown dependent, otherwise can disappear at times. And then Kincaid gets injured too often to feel too strongly about it. But any given week, you might have a top 3 tight end on your hands. So it's not the end of the world. Not bad, given you waited. P-Punch says you can skip me if you insist, brother. Maybe we just move on. But we also had Delusional Vikings fan. I think those are all the members. Shout it out if we're doing one more. Huhaim's asking what we drafting. The poll says Pomeranian. It's at 56% for the Pomeranian. We have 7% for the Dachshund. If we just put that on the pit bull, it'd be a 56-44 vote. That is pretty close, honestly. I might be overruling. I think we got enough votes where y'all would actually join the pit bull with me. So fuck it. We'll do my first pit bull. Fuck it. Let's do it. All right. Only 56% of you want the Pomeranian. If it was over 60, then maybe I would just give you what you want. For the sake of the budget, I get it. But I think 56-44, we'll do that. We'll do the Pitbull. All right. The chat went like hyperactive the last time I looked away. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing any member. Anyone in the blunt rotation that was in this lobby. I don't think Disbanded was in here. Don't think Fantasy Dog was in here. Yo, what's up, Sladen? We did get to Bass Fishing's review. Pepper Tony was not in here. Neither was Huhaim's. But yeah, and Njoku was not making it back, so I needed to take him where I did. Thanks for confirming that. Chad says I waited too long on a second quarterback. Not my best effort. Where is Chad in this one? I think he was Niners fan. He had Brock Purdy, Mendoza, and Brisket. Yeah, not too good. Mendoza against Arizona. People say that's a good matchup for Las Vegas. The Arizona defense is actually kind of underrated, in my opinion. I think it's good for Genty and Bowers. I don't know for sure if it's good for Mendoza, but yeah, you might have gotten burned with QB2. But remember, you only have to finish top 4, so it might not be the end of the world, but you're behind the 8 ball. That's for sure. Young Moolah telling me his team: Jaden Purdy, ETN Tootin, Rico Coleman, CD Igbuka, DK Golden, J Mac, Ayuk, Bowers, and Kittle. There's a couple clicks on here I'm not too in love with, like Ayuk and Coleman, but for the most part, it ain't bad. If Igbuka crushes like last year and stays healthy, should be good. All right, I think we got to most of y'all. We did review Keith, that super beast, and sorry, Hallie. Yeah, you missed out on Andrews. I had to take him. Fancy Dog likes Andrews a lot as well. Wandale and QJ is very much a balancing of the force, Yin versus Yang. I could see that. Good high floor, cap ceiling versus high risk, high reward type of option. $750 for a $3 entry wasn't too bad. If you win $750, there's no complaints, but not the easiest thing to do. Yeah, the palm structure kind of not exciting, but I'm willing to do some of them. I'm willing to do at least 5. We did 2 of them. We'll save some for later. Let's join a Pitbull. But blunt rotation, okay. You have my attention. J.M. Bruni. If you want to join the blunt rotation, you will get a locked-in team review. But I think we've done enough. I think we're ready to do it. I think we will hop into a Pitbull. A reminder on this contest: much better advanced structure. 2 out of 12 is typical. That's what it always is most of the time. So nothing should scare you there. And then 1 out of 6 is just as good as 2 out of 12. I'll take that. A smaller pod is definitely in your favor. 1 out of 5, an even smaller pod is great. And then the final's not too massive, only 156 people in the pod. There's only 28,000 total entries in this contest, but $500,000 in prizes, $100K to first, only 10 entries maximum, so get in while you can. So far, less than 8,000 entries into this contest. It will be open for a few more weeks, but I'm also willing to get in today, given the... I mean, we had 54 likes on today's live stream. That's pretty fucking awesome. So I think it deserves a celebration. We're vying for first, but to be honest with you, I wouldn't mind 15th place in here. If I took home 5K, I'd be pretty fucking happy. I want more. I want at least 15K, given our chances. Let's shoot for top 5. If we finish first, that's not too shabby either. But typical advanced structure, weeks 1 through 14, then 15, 16, 17. And what do you make for just reaching the final? I'm curious about that. At least $500 if you make the final. That's much better than the Pomeranian. And if we advance, make the playoffs, we get our money back. We'll double it if we advance one more time. And then if we finish close to the edge, we get $100, but only if we advance to the final, we get 500 plus. Let's do it. All right, I'm going to give you all a countdown. We are joining the Pitbull in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 2 spots left. It is full, and it's time to lock in. Give me a good pick for once. I got pick 5. Could be better, could be worse. We can go in many different directions at pick 5. If there's one spot where you should start maybe mixing it up, it's probably pick 5. But perhaps I just go with JSN. Perhaps that's just what we lock in. Lion is down to watch the Pitbull. Don't think he joined us. We got Peyton, the legend Manning at the 102. No, he's watching. We got Game Tight right next to us at the 104. We got Jackson Duffy at the 106. We got Niners Fan 05 again in here at the 107. We got P-Punch at the 111. And then I can't say I recognize anybody else, but right next to me, or next to Game Tight is Dad 614. There's also Jedi Niner. Actually, we might have drafted with Jedi Niner before. That's possible. But Ben Lance 99 and Bucky Plays, along with First Deposit. Not sure if you're watching. Let me know if you are. And good luck to everyone Jedi Loki is indeed at the 108. Yeah, you are Jedi Niner. I was like, I got a feeling that might be someone I know. But Game Tight was also in yours yesterday. Game Tight's sharp. Game Tight plays it risky sometimes, but he goes Jefferson at the 104. I'll just take Puka. I will move on with Puka at the 105. Not gonna complain. So Game Tight thinks pick 4 is where you can get different, and at least Justin Jefferson's playoff schedule looks phenomenal. He gets the Lions week 1 at home in a dome, no weather to worry about. Then he's gonna get the Commanders at home, also in a dome, no weather to worry about. That's also a gift. And then he will be at the Jets, might have weather to worry about, but he's good enough where I wouldn't really worry about it too much. It's not that big of a deal. And then they probably win by blowout. So they probably score a lot of points. So I like Jefferson a lot. I don't think I'm taking him over Puka, though. So, yeah, a bit of a gift. A bit of a gift. But here's the thing. If you make the final, that's still a pretty solid return. $500 just for making the final is not bad. And I don't think Jefferson's going to be underperforming against the Jets. Don't think that. I don't think he'll be bad. He just might come off the field in the fourth quarter. That's the only problem. Magnum says, it is 9:49 here where I live. What time is it there? I am also on the West Coast, brother. Mango. Oh, no, it's Mango Muffin. Jesus. I am dyslexic. I am dyslexic. Not confirmed, never diagnosed as dyslexic, but honestly, I think I have slight dyslexia sometimes. That's a solid outcome. Override, we did indeed override. Arizona defense rated at 31 by Mike Clay, so he might have them underrated. Did we get a running back? We did not. Fuck. Damn it. Shit. That's a bummer. Damn it. We also get a double 11 bye with Puka and London. Damn it. We missed out on all the valuable running backs. Pick 5 can be tough sometimes. But London feels like the correct wide receiver in this second round. I don't like taking Jeremiah Love. I'm not going to do it. For $20, I think I'd rather have a double anchor wideout team than draft Jeremiah Love. We can still get back in at running back. It's not the end of the world. It's not over with. But if you give me 2 really, really strong receivers, I'm not going to be too upset with it. London can deliver as the best play on the week any given time. So I do think he's worth a second round pick. Definitely a late second rounder, but a second round pick. I don't think I put together my best team. Hopefully Jamar carries. Good luck. Julio. Jamar should carry. You would assume that Chase will work out. Mendoza Brissett combo is a good one though. Early and late. I suppose, but maybe Kirk Cousins Mendoza might be an even better combo. Who knows? Brissett with his holdout. Not the best vibe, honestly. But once again, we get fucking boxed out at running back. Damn it. Damn it. This is not as fun as I was hoping. I might just go A.J. Brown. Could go Kyron. We could go Brees, but yeah. I'm going to push it. Today we're going to go trip wideouts. The board is kind of deciding my fate. It's not fun. Doesn't feel great, but 3 rounds is not enough to be a true 0 running back team, and we will take our chances with the strongest receiver room. At the very least, I have an advantage. I still have to win the lobby. It's possible to win the lobby starting 3 wide receivers. I believe it's possible. Is it the easiest thing to do? Probably not. Sorry, bud. kind of just wanted to move on. I feel like I've spent a lot of time on the team reviews over the last few weeks, so it can get to me sometimes. We have a moment. I'll take a peek, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But per request, I'm willing to look at it. You had Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield. I'll look right after this pick. We'll spend like 30 seconds on it. All right, so this might be turning in to a 0 RB team, but I don't think I'm going to just let myself allow that to happen. I think I'm just going to force a running back click here. Would have liked Cam Scatterbu, honestly. I'm starting to believe he's a good value because I don't think he's ever going to fall back down. I'll just go Travion, though. I really believe in Travion. It's another Week 11 bye, unfortunately, but whoop-de-doo. Who cares? It's not the end of the world. I'm not going to overreact like I did with Goofy Chicken about a bunch of bye weeks that are the same thing. It's not ideal, but only 1 week where 3 players are on bye, I think I can be okay without it. We're going to be at full strength every other week. I don't want to overload and just have everyone on week 11 bye, but I'm not going to be convincing myself that it's the end of the world just because we have 3 in the first 4 rounds. Anyways, let me pull in Vikings fans team real fast. He had the Hurts, Baker Mayfield, double week 10 at QB, so getting a bagel week 10. Maybe he can still finish top 4, though. DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery, Tony Pollard, Jordan Mason, Woody Marks, and Nick Singleton. So kind of like my team right now. Kind of waited on running back till pick 47. Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Jacoby Myers, Pittman, McMillan, Boston, DK. You are going to need Chase to deliver, but Devontae should. And if maybe Thomas gets traded, Jacoby Myers should crush. I like Pittman as the 4th. McBride, Otten, and Jolie. Don't think you needed Jolie. I would have taken another receiver probably. Just gone 2 tight ends. That, I think, is my review. Not a bad team, but that is the cost of taking McBride that early. I'm more excited about a triple wide receiver start than a team that starts with McBride in the first 3 rounds. I will be honest with you. But Swift off the board, I would have liked DeAndre Swift. Not going to lie. Jadarian Price gets taken, so damn. They're trying to bury me. They're trying to punish me. Not going to let that happen. It's week 11, though. Fuck. All right. I'm not going to take 4 out of 5 in week 11. We'll go Bishal Tootin instead. We'll go with Tootin. Quinshon should be pretty productive, but it's the Browns. And then we would have 4 out of 5 in week 11. And then I might get pissed. Then I might say shit. So the board kind of forcing my hand. Game tight going Jefferson and then Jeremiah Love. Javonte Williams sniped was a bit of a bummer. And then Jadarian Price there. I understand the board being maybe not cruel, but a bit mean at running back. It's a coveted position. I can't fall too far behind. But we're going to be filling in that position early and often. We can ignore receiver for a bit. I'm not going to ignore it entirely, but so far, no other team has more than 3 receivers. And I was the first team to even have 3. So that's going to be a strength of this roster for a minute. We got to address the weaknesses. Pass the Dutchie from the left-hand side. Yep. You know it. Get in, fellas. One of us will make it. Good luck, y'all. Absolutely. Good luck, everyone. It's party time. I was going Bowers. He sniped my reach. Yeah, Bowers to first deposit. A double Vegas at the 112. Don't see that too often, but it's also something that you kind of expect sometimes. But the only like true, reach in this one, I think, was Jefferson and then Bowers. Everything else is pretty pretty normal. But the quarterback position is not being favored too much. I don't want Chuba Hubbard here, I'll tell you that. I could take Burrow unstacked. It doesn't feel great. I could go Jaden Daniels. However, I took A.J. Brown, and given my team not going receiver in this range, I think I want a more elite wide quarterback, so I'll go Drake May. It is Week 11, but at least we got Bishal Tootin that wasn't Week 11. Oh, shit. Yo, A.J. Brown might have a Week 11 bye if he's with the Patriots. Yo, that's fucking hilarious. Of course. Of course that's going to happen. All right, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Mango, why do people reach in the first round? You have plenty of drafts where you'll be drafting at the 110. It's to get an elite combo. It's to get an elite combo. My dyslexia kicks in when the THC gets over 30%. That may be why I think it's overkill to go over 30%. That checks out. Where can I submit a team review? If you're a member, you automatically get a team review, and then sometimes I'm happy to review everyone's team. Tonight, and I think in the future, we're going to limit it to, like, unless we got a shit ton of members and, like, super chats correlated, I don't think I'm going to do more than 4 team reviews. It takes up a lot of time. It's kind of hard to process everything, especially even when you're just watching. If it's not your team, it can be tough to lock in. So I think just for the conservation of energy, not letting my voice go out, that is the move. But I let y'all know at the beginning. If you are in here with me, let me know if you want a team review. Towards the end, it's a little bit different, but I think Mekhi Lemon makes sense here. However, I should probably just take a running back. This room has been so unkind to me at running back. I'm just going to get in with someone I like. Give me Rico Dowdle in the 7th. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Could have gone Ramondre to stack up with Drake May, but yet another Week 11 bye. Maybe not ideal. And I think betting on Travion, I'd rather just bet against Ramondre on the same team. I'd rather not get both of the Patriots running backs. Maybe it's just like last year and having one in 1 week is worth it, but I'd rather just take Travion in the 4th round and take him with the idea that he's just going to bury Ramondre on the depth chart this year. He's just going to overwhelm that backfield, take over the job, and carry you, be the much more valuable asset, and be the only one at ADP that actually is more valuable than the price. I think if you take Travion with conviction, you should be willing to fade Ramondre, at least on the same roster. Maybe on a different draft, take Ramondre with conviction, fade Travion. That's not a bad plan. Mix it up. But on the same team, I don't think it's necessary to be drafting the most expensive handcuff with the RB1 as well. Not sure it's the most critical thing, but yeah. Yeah. At this point, we should just lean in, but we can't have an entire team with the same buy. The entire team. But Who Hames believes that I can get through with not a single point in Week 11. So maybe I should trust Who Hames. I'll have a few other players, though. Damn. Herbert at 92. Not going to be available. Pretty tempting, honestly. Pretty fucking tempting. Dobbins would be the running back of choice, but I could just get in at wide receiver again. I really trust Quentin Johnston. We don't really have a stacking partner. I'll just take QJ. I like QJ in the 8th round. I used to take him a lot in the 7th. I took way too much of him, so I stopped doing it. Then once he fell to the 9th, I got back in, and then he fell to the 10th. I was taking him like crazy. And then all of a sudden, he signed that 5th-year option, and he just like instantly became an 8th round pick again. So doesn't seem like he's ever gonna be back in the 9th round. And I ignored receiver for a minute, 4 straight rounds. We have 3 strong ones up top, but I want to lean into my strength. I don't want to ignore it entirely, and I will take Quentin Johnston at 92 most of the time, whether stacked or unstacked. I'll still do it. People reach in early rounds to set up easier stacks. Sometimes it's very hard to get that partner for some of these quarterbacks based on ADP. That is also valid. Sometimes quarterbacks just never go on a certain side of the board, and sometimes you just have to take a player on that side to set it up. But I think typically it's because you want to grab somebody on one side of the board with somebody that only ever goes on the other side of the board, or you want to take 2 second-round players. Like sometimes I'll take Hampton in the 1st round, not because I'm convinced that he's going to be more productive than Amon-Ra St. Brown or, CeeDee Lamb. Not that I think that's a guarantee, but I think it's going to be a very unique combo to pair him with another 2nd-round pick. That's something that's just not going to happen too often. I kind of just want to take the fall on Trevor Lawrence, though. I think that's pretty tempting right here, in all honesty. I might regret my fade on running back, but this value here I think is worth it. We also have Baishal Tutin, who will absolutely be catching passes. So I'll take Trevor Lawrence at 101. Really big discount. And this is where experience kind of drives this decision. I don't know if I would have forced it had I not been in a draft earlier in May. I think this was like a couple weeks ago. Super Shorty had a very similar situation to ours. They had the opportunity to draft Trevor Lawrence at like 101, 102. And they passed and didn't feel too great about it in hindsight. To just scoop up the value on T-Law, I think is worth it. He doesn't normally go in the 9th round. He's a quarterback that you don't need to have stacked up, but we already have Baishal Tutin, so we at least have someone. And maybe it would have been nicer had I taken Jacoby Myers instead of Quentin Johnston, but it's really just a good falling value, and there's still some back stacks available even later. So C-Rod goes 114. I honestly considered C-Rod at 101. Glad I didn't take him because he almost made it back. But Jackson Duffy on the clock here. I'm really hoping he doesn't snipe me on who I want, and he does. Damn it. He goes Kenneth Gainwell. Bummer. I for sure wanted Kenny G. So in that case, I'm just going to take value again. I'm going to go with Kyle Pitts. We could take the stack with Romeo Doubs, but I'm going to bet on the stack with A.J. Brown. And we took Kyle Pitts at 111 in the last one. Let's go Kyle Pitts 116. That's a really nice value. The receiver room is good enough. I also have another Falcon on this team. So yeah, why not? We're setting up a potential Tua selection, but even if we don't go with a Falcon, let's take Kyle Pitts at 116. That's a very nice fall. I'll take that all day. If that's Kyle Pitts' new price, I will smash Kyle Pitts in the 10th. We've done it twice today, and I'm catching up on my Kyle Pitts exposure. I don't want to be full fading Kyle Pitts, and I've actually barely drafted him since the contest draft. But smashing that like, thank you, Game Tight. Slayton says example. It might be way easier to get Laporta and JMO if you get Goff from the 103 versus the 112, or vice versa. That is also very, very valid, for sure. So you grab Amon-Ra at the 103. I might take him at the 105, but I don't think I'm taking Amon-Ra over Jamar. That's where I think sometimes it gets a little egregious and overboard. But how is Bo Callahan still available? I'm not sure. He's not on my radar. That's probably why. Still at it. This man don't stop. Thank you, Jiri. I mean, I wasn't live yesterday, but I'm on the clock right now. Shit. Force in my hand. I think I'm just going to go Tyrone Tracy. Not in love with it. Could go Kelsey, though. But I just need running back points. Let's do that. Tracy kind of represents a bit of a cliff, and he also might be part of that cliff. The cliff might have already fallen off. I was hopeful that one of Jordan Mason or Aaron Jones would still make it to me at 125. At the worst, maybe Rashad White, but they're off the board. Brooks went at 112. I missed out on Gainwell by one click. Damn, I wanted Kenny Gainwell. I sure as shit wanted Kenny Gainwell. So good click, Jackson. He was not making it back. A very good running back 4 to have. And this is absolutely a 6 RB team. Might even be a 7 RB team. I'm probably going to go 3 quarterbacks, though, with a Tua super late. But if not, there's a chance I take 7 running backs just because I waited so long for RB1 with Travion. These days, waiting until round 4 is waiting quite a while. Typically, I don't like teams that don't have a running back by the 3rd round. Jax says, nice to make it in to another draft with you. Sucks I've drafted right next to you both times. I know. I wish you weren't right next to me. You might not have sniped me on Gainwell. Somebody else probably would have, but at least that might have not happened in that alternate universe. Who thinks win WA Finals? The Bengals win the Super Bowl? I don't know about the Bengals. I wouldn't bet on that. But I'm going to go Travis Hunter as our wide receiver 5. Get back in at that position. We have Trevor Lawrence on this team, and especially if they do trade Brian Thomas Jr., it's possible. It might be because Travis Hunter is the best value in the Jags offense. Maybe that's what's going to happen with Travis Hunter. So with T-Law, absolutely justified. I only had 4 wide receivers up to that point. We had Puka, London, and A.J. Brown, so it was fine to kind of fade it. But I'm going to have to get back in sooner or later. I go Travis Hunter with T-Law. And this team feels pretty good. I got Drake May and Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. Different buys, so not bad. Kyle Pitts also week 11 bye. But who cares? That's a different position. Running back only has 1 week 11 bye, so that position is chilling. Wide receiver, though, has 3 straight week 11 buys, assuming A.J. Brown is indeed a Patriot. But Hunter Henry taken. Don't think I was going to take him. Could go Gadsden at a good value. Don't hate it, but I think Brenton Strange makes more sense. I think that is the move with T-Law for sure. Yeah, we'll get a double Jaguars stack with Travis Hunter and Brenton Strange back-to-back in rounds 12 and 13. Picks 140, 149. Travis Hunter, Brenton Strange, after going Trevor Lawrence at the 101. This team feels pretty good. Quarterback feels elite. Running back could be better. You know, I don't have that, like, you know, clear locked-in top 10 play. But I also believe that Trayvon Henderson can spike so well that he is a top 5 play in the final week. He could be the RB1, given his house call potential. Baishal Tootin is also a house call waiting to happen. Super speedy player. And then Rico Dowdle could get enough volume against the Titans, maybe 25, 30 touches, that he also drops 200 yards. We might have 3 top 5 performances at running back. So high spike week production. The Giants also going to need contributions out of Tyrone Tracy. I still need some depth, but I don't feel like my running back room is desperate. My tight end room feels good with Kyle Pitts, Brenton Strange. That feels awesome. And then Whiteout is so loaded up top. Like, nobody in this lobby has better 3 starting receivers than I do. So this team has some strengths. It has some weaknesses, but I think the depth all throughout has been filled out nicely. I think it is coming together pretty well. I think the logic on different clicks in different rounds makes plenty of sense. And unfortunately, we didn't get that value at running back in the first 3 rounds, but pick 5 is one of those tricky spots where that can happen to you. The board dictated what we went with, and I refused to take Breece Hall over A.J. Brown. I might regret passing, though, on Kyron Williams, but I'm back on the clock. I don't think I can really afford a Bryce Young pick here, even past ADP. I'm just going to get back in at receiver, I think. I like Stribling. I do think Stribling has some legit breakout potential, and we'll just take him. We'll just take Stribling and live with our decision. Around this turn, some of the receiver depth is a bit lacking. Like the team at 103 right now on the clock just drafted his 5th wideout, Ryan Flournoy. And that team had Purdy. That team did have Purdy. So Stribling was not going to make it back. Definitely not passing on him twice. I can't say I knew that for a fact that Purdy was on this side, but I do think Stribling in this range is fine. And you're telling me we have the Niners wide receiver 3 that was drafted at the beginning of the 2nd round? I would assume that's probably a player you want to trust a decent amount. But my boy Tank Bigsby does go 167. I will be honest, as much as I would have liked Tank Bigsby on this team, I think I need a little bit more reliable of a path to touches, and maybe he's not the safest bet here, in all honesty. But no running back at this point is really like amazing, so it's not that valuable ultimately. But this is a weird part of the draft. We have Drake May, Trevor Lawrence. I could go tight end, I suppose, but not that many clicks I love in this spot. Jeremy Bernard feels decent though. I think I'm going to take Jeremy Bernard. He's been moving up the board. And I think with the luxury of having Puka, London, and A.J. Brown, I can just take some, big swings that some of these rookies can break out. Like, rookies down the stretch, when they finally get their groove, finally, become a big part of the offense, they can be the pieces that really send you over the top. Remember A.J. Brown's rookie season? Do you remember that? Remember how productive he was down the stretch his rookie year? That's what we're hoping to find. The rookie that just crushes down the stretch. Now, maybe Jeremy, as the wide receiver 3, has an uphill battle in Pittsburgh, but I do really like him, and there's some really positive reports out of camp already. Seems like they're very happy with their drafting of Jeremy Bernard. So I'm willing to take him, but that was kind of a tough spot. I wasn't really convinced that I was going in the right direction there. I think I'm done at tight end. I don't think I'm taking a 3rd tight end. I think I can get away with Kyle Pitts and Brenton Strange on this team. So 7 receivers. I could stop at 7. 2 quarterbacks. We can tolerate a Tua draft pick if we really want it. But honestly, I might just take 3 more running backs and close out this team. I got A.J. Brown with Drake May. That's at least our expectation. I have Travis Hunter and Brenton Strange with Trevor Lawrence. And I think I can probably get away with it. Unless at 212 in the final round, the rest of the lobby decides that I can just have Tua. I think Tua is the only Falcon quarterback I'm really interested in drafting, honestly. Not in love with Michael Penix. Emmanuel Wilson goes. Would have been fine with him, but we don't get him. It's not the end of the world. I do like Sean Tucker, though. I'm going to go Sean Tucker. We took him on the last one. I like him. And I think with the concern about Bucky Irving right now, he's worth investing in at a decent clip. So I'll go Sean Tucker, and then I will take a rip from the pipe. It's been a minute, so I'll take a rip from the pipe. Only 2 clicks left. Gotta take another running back. I think I'm going to ignore Alvin Kamara today. I think I will ignore him on this team, because there's a world where he really sucks. And he goes to Petey the Problem, so it takes him off my plate. Thank you very much. Spurs versus Knicks in the finals. Got to go with Spurs in 7. Ravens win the Super Bowl. That's a bold call in Jesse Minter's first year. The Thunder. I hope they don't repeat, but kind of don't really care. If Callahan can't play football, nobody can. Can still get T-Law's cornerback. Exactly. We did. Why hasn't Travis Hunter's ADP fallen to 170? Insane to draft him at current price. I don't think it's, compared to last year, it's actually a really good price. It's actually very affordable compared to last year. I'm going to go Jordan James. Let's bet against Christian McCaffrey on this one. That's definitely a potential league-winning click if McCaffrey goes down. I hate their schedule. There's a lot of travel. I think the Mexico City game after the Melbourne game, not good for them. I could easily see the Niners break down this year. So I think investing in some of their backups is not that big of a misclick. I think Jordan James is the running back 2 you want in San Francisco. If Travis only plays the 23rd downs and the 22nd downs, it's like full route participation for actual passing work. We'll see. I think the argument for Travis Hunter right now is that Brian Thomas can still be on the move. There are still some rumblings about a BTJ trade in the works. But Parker got 100 yards for the first time in his 27th start. T-Law in his 7th. Can't prove anything, but not willing to give up on BTJ and Hunter yet. Is Hunter playing 23rd downs? He's the 4th receiver, not the 3rd. Cowboys to win the Super Bowl. That's not going to happen. Travis Hunter wish casting. I'll wait it out. His ADP likely falls big time. Y'all keep overpaying. If BTJ is traded, then he will move up significantly. He will move up dramatically if that happens. The Bills could trade a 2nd and future 3rd for BTJ in 6 days. I'm really hoping the Chargers do that. That's what I would like to see happen. Maybe Jacoby blows out his knee. I'm not going to bet on that. We don't draft on some blind comparison, just the percentage of each outcome. That's a fair argument, though, Sladen. There's always a chance of something else happening. Anyone convinced only one thing can happen is only hurting themselves. The percentages we have with every click is pretty minimal when you're a volume drafter, so it's not worth never taking him. Compared to last year, it makes a lot of sense. Rich like Singleton there. I do think Singleton's pretty solid. I do think he's a good click to bet on. I think he can win the job from Tajay. Will he beat out Tony Pollard without an injury? Probably not. Any late running back I'm picking for injury touches, that's definitely the main argument for them. Shamook. I'm feeling much better this draft than the last. We'll take a look at Chad's team. Niners fan. Point is the current ADP is out of whack. Go for it. I'm glad y'all are. We got to believe that one of these clicks is wrong, right? Is Tua still on the board? He is not. So we're going running back again. And I think I'm going to put my stamp on this team. We're going to go with the other Achane. We're going to go Trevor Etienne. We already have Trevor Lawrence, so a double Trevor on this one. And the Carolina backfield is very much up for grabs. The bet on Chuba is not one I like. I passed on him for Drake May. Never really like taking Chuba. I think Chuba should be going closer to J.K. Dobbins, to be honest with you. I get why he goes where he goes. But if he doesn't get the volume that he needs, he's just not going to deliver that ADP. And that's what makes the handcuff in Carolina worth investing in. Jonathan Brooks, I think, can win the job. However, we know that Jonathan Brooks is basically the new J.K. Dobbins. So to assume that Brooks will remain healthy is also a very risky argument. That's the proposition that makes Chuba Hubbard sound valuable. When people look at Jonathan Brooks and say there's no way he's staying healthy, that's what I think makes them convinced that Chuba Hubbard is actually a good click. I don't think Chuba is a good click. I prefer taking Brooks, but I also think that Brooks has enough problems of his own where neither Chuba or Brooks can deliver. And if I told you that this year, just a month ago, they drafted a running back in the 4th round, y'all would probably be taking him. Right now we're drafting Jonah Coleman at a very high rate, pick 145, but no one is taking Trevor Etienne. He was drafted at a very young age. Last season, he was only 21 years old, out of Georgia. That's a very good college for running backs. That's excellent pedigree in terms of college scouting. The Georgia backfield is always very, very talented. So I've mentioned him. I've gone on my monologue several times. Trevor Etienne, my scroll down click of the 18th round. I think he's worth taking at about a 5% clip. Less than once every 12 times, only about once in 20 drafts, and every now and then I'll mix him in. In this contest, I have yet to take him. This is my first Pitbull overall, so here we are taking him at 212. A reminder, on the team, we take Drake May and Trevor Lawrence. T-Law at 101, fucking awesome value there. Love that price. I stopped with just 2, and I have Travion Henderson as RB1, Baishal Tootin, Rico Dowdle, Tyrone Tracy RB4, and I ended up with 7 of them. I have Sean Tucker, Jordan James, and Trevor Etienne. My wide receiver room also has 7 players. Puka Nacua, Drake London, A.J. Brown, and then Quentin Johnston, wide receiver 4. The swing for the fence on Travis Hunter, Dejon Stribling, and Jeremy Bernard, hoping for the rookie breakouts. I believe in their talent. Both second-round picks, but another excellent falling price on Kyle Pitts at 116. I think that's going to work out. And then trusting him in my lineup enough where only Brenton Strange is needed as a stacking partner, tight end 2. I think the team is good. I think when you start with 3 wide receivers, you're going to prefer to have a ton of depth at running back, and that's what we did with 7 of them. I think it checks out. I think if you're telling me going into a draft, you're going to draft 7 running backs, that I think is one way to justify starting 3 wideouts. So I'm glad I got 7. I think it totally needed it. And I'm kind of requiring Rico Dowdle and Tyrone Tracy to still give me some decent points. I actually kind of need them, all things considered. So if Sean Tucker breaks out for another 30-plus pointer, that'll be excellent. He could also just contribute if Bucky is not fully healthy. Jordan James, a prayer if McCaffrey goes down. And then Trevor Etienne, also some heavy injury risk above him as RB7. But wide receivers, excellent in the starting lineup. If we get anything out of these 4, it's just icing on the cake. But tight end, I think, is strong enough. I think we're in good shape. The 2-7-7-2 with the 3 straight wideouts, I think, turned out okay. But let's review some other people's teams in this one. We do have P-Punch as a member, and we did not review his team last time. So I'm going to start with P-Punch. I'll do that. He has Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, good with stopping at 2. We got James Cook, Saquon Barkley, Blake Corum, J.K. Dobbins, Emmett Johnson, and Braylon Allen. Solid group of 6. And then these handcuffs are... I mean, once we get this late on Braylon Allen, he's probably worth pick 203. I didn't like him when he was like pick 175, but pick 203, I don't hate it. The bet on Cook and Barkley, though, probably carries you where you need to. But T. Higgins, DJ Moore at 59, that's awesome. And it's with Josh Allen. Good for you, man. Good for you. Carnell Tate, DK Metcalf for the stack. Jacoby Myers, wide receiver 5 at 110 is really nice. Really good fall on Jacoby Myers. Jalen Naylor, Isaac Tesla, and Chris Brazzell. I'm not really drafting Brazzell, to be honest with you, but I don't really take Tet McMillan, so maybe Brazzell is going to help that pay off. Maybe he is worth taking. But Jake Ferguson and Dallas Goedert, I think taking tight end, double-clicking that at 131, 134. You can stop there and get away with it. I like Goddard, though, significantly more than Ferguson. I think the only reason he goes that late is because of injury risk. Ferguson is fine, but not my favorite click, honestly. Neither are stacked up. That's not the end of the world. Odds are you didn't have Kincaid available. Yeah, Kincaid got sniped there. That's fine. No problem with that. Not a bad team. Not bad at all. I love the DJ Moore price for you. That is an oversight, if you ask me, by the rest of the lobby. I don't think I could have taken DJ Moore given my build. I think I just was locked into running back. So unfortunately for the sake of the lobby, we let the Allen drafter pair him with DJ Moore. That might have been a mistake. So good for P-Punch. Good luck, brother. Maybe you make it out with the Allen, James Cook, and DJ Moore combo. Damn, all three. Shit. That's scary. Bucky plays. Not sure if you were watching. We had Peyton the Legend Manning who was watching first time tonight. So we'll review his team. Has Jackson Dart, Jared Goff, and Tua. He did take Tua at 194. And I'm okay with that. He had Bijan, so it makes sense. I had 2 Falcons, but I think I'm fine without it. Drake May is my quarterback 1. Definitely safer than Jackson Dart. But running back looks pretty solid with Bijan, Travis, Tony Pollard, Pacheco, and Bigsby. So 2 elite handcuffs. And you might actually get a lot of usage out of Pacheco. If Pollard stays healthy, you are in business. Should get a lot of volume. Neighbors at pick 23. Jamo Romadunze. Neighbors is stacked up. So is Jamo. Romeo Dobbs. The double Rome OD. Omar Cooper, Ted Hurst, Zachariah Branch, and Torrey Horton. Some fun bets on rookies. And my boy Torrey Horton. Not a bad wide receiver room at all. Pretty solid. And then Laporta stacked up. Likely also stacked up. Good stacks. Good, advanced piece with Tua. And then running back, as long as it stays healthy, you have Bijan and Travis. You're in the clear. You have a week 17 bring back as well. Very fun team. Very well correlated. Just good luck with Neighbors. That's ultimately, I think, what that team comes down to. Can Neighbors deliver? Otherwise, it's very, very strong. I like this team. Peyton the Legend Manning, drafting well. Game tight had Jaden and Kyler. Little injury risk, but otherwise good rushing upside. Jeremiah, Javante, Jadarian, Jordan Mason, and Nick Singleton. Pretty solid group of 5, but y'all know I don't love Jeremiah. I did pass on him myself. Justin Jefferson, he pulled him up at pick 4 with Jordan Addison. He did get him with Kyler. So all is stacked up, but Addison is wide receiver 2. A little thin, perhaps. Also has Josh Downs, Rashid Shaheed, Jawan Jennings, so the triple stack in Minnesota. Mooney, Burks, and Jalen Lane. You have volume, but some of it is worthless. Wide receiver is tricky. The bet on Jefferson better fucking pay off. I'll tell you that. But one of these Vikings is not going to pay off every week. So that's an automatic 0 typically, with the other 2 always hitting. One of them might keep the other 2 at bay. There's a chance that you get screwed, but you also have TJ Hawkinson, just the mega commitment to Minnesota. Andrews and Loveland, strong tight end room. Wide receiver is weak. Let's not sugarcoat it. Wide receiver is weak as fuck. So good luck game tight. You do risk it sometimes. The team's fun. If you're going to go for it, but might have looked better with a Terry McLaurin stacked up with Jaden Daniels. You didn't know you would get Jaden Daniels, but I think maybe wide receiver instead of Loveland might look a little better, structurally speaking. Or just like Nico Collins instead of Jeremiah. I don't love Jeremiah Love. Personally, I don't like the click. We also drafted with Jedi Niner for the first time tonight. Let's take a look at Jedi's team. Bo Nix, Baker Mayfield, and Malik Willis. Pretty good depth. All can run the ball a little bit. Have the double week 10, but then Malik Willis as the third. Not at a discount, but I suppose a fine QB3. Jonathan Taylor, Omarion Hampton feels very strong. Cam Scadaboo, Kyle Manunga, and Tyler Algier. Really good running back room. Olave, Terry, Marvin Harrison, a little questionable. Mekhi Lemon, solid click, but you would imagine his ADP is going to rise once the A.J. Brown trade goes through, right? You would imagine he's not going to fall to pick 80. So a good click probably. Jaden Higgins, past ADP. I took him on the last team, so probably worth it. Debo and Keenan. Keenan might retire. Debo probably signed somewhere, but now he's getting older. Debo and injury risk. That's for sure. AJ Barner, Fryermuth, and Njoku. To wait on tight end, though, got two of my favorites, and then Barner's not bad. No stacks, though, other than... There's not a single stack on this team. That can't be ideal. Not ideal. Any bringbacks? Not really. Yeah. Disregarded stacking altogether in this one. And maybe it's overrated. Maybe you don't need it. But feels like something you should at least have one option with. So that's, I guess, the big critique. No stacks. All right. I think I'm getting tired. I think everyone in here who was new in this lobby did get a team review. If you drafted in the first one, I don't think I'm going to review it again. Just trying to preserve my energy. And I think that's it. The question will be, can I get away with Puka, London, and AJ Brown? Will my running back room deliver? That is the big question on my team. But I think we gave ourselves a shot. I'm glad I got 7 running backs just to make sure every week we got a lot of bullets in the chamber. But yeah, Puka, London, and AJ Brown better not get hurt. I'll say that, because Travis Hunter might be a 0, Stribling might be a bust, and then Bernard. To trust an Aaron Rodgers rookie wide receiver might not be the smartest thing. Maybe not the smartest thing in the world, but I do like his talent enough to take the risk. All right, I think that's going to be it for me. Let me try to catch up with the chat real quick. I think I'm going to go in reverse order. Chad says, dang, didn't hit my team. All good. Oh, Chad was in here as well. You know what, Chad? Sure. You did mention it at the top. Like I said, if you're willing to mention it at the top of the draft and you request a team review, it makes more sense. But if you lurk and you tell me at the last second, I might not do it. And then if we checked you out on the first time, might not do it either. But CMC, Derrick Henry, Devontae Smith, Lad McConkey checks out. Lamar and Jalen Hurts. Hurts stacked up with Devontae checks out as well. Jalen Warren, Jaden Reed. So double Jalen. Xavier Worthy, Chris Rodriguez. Those are fair clicks. Travis Kelce, Keaton Mitchell, also fair clicks. Keaton might be overpriced, though. Jalen McMillan, I think, can still fall further. I think him versus Ted Hurst is actually a pretty legit discussion. So I'm actually starting to fade McMillan myself. And then Chig Okonkwo, tight end 2. Dalton Schultz, tight end 3. Very good clicks at ADP. Ayuk could be a 0. I'm not in the market for Ayuk these days. Until he signs, I think I'm out on Ayuk, to be perfectly honest. I think he's more of a round 18 type of click. Same with Tyreek Hill. They're both a little scary. You do not worry about it. You also take Kayshon Boutte, who at the moment is getting targets, but also might be involved in a trade. Might be going to the Eagles. But you do have Jalen Hurts, so maybe you're projecting that. Maybe Kayshon Boutte stacks up with Jalen Hurts. But good luck. I don't think any click made incorrect sense. It's just a question of, will these veterans carry you to the finish line? I think odds are they do, but the 2-5-8-3 build made plenty of sense. Solid enough receiver room, but very risky down the stretch with McMillan, Ayuk, Tyreek, and Kayshon. I think the last 4 receivers are all players that scare me at their current prices. Those are my thoughts tonight. But I think that's it. Tonight, but wasn't going to reach solid night drafting. If the Patriots don't get AJ Brown, I wonder if Tyreek Hill ends up in New England. You would think with the Rashee Rice situation, Tyreek Hill is more likely going to end up in Kansas City, if I had to guess. But thank you, P-Punch. Appreciate you for hopping in for several drafts tonight. Thank you, Sladen. Appreciate it. Fancy Dog. I couldn't stack, got sniped when best available. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. Bummer. Game Tight always super stacking. Yeah, Game Tight went crazy with the Vikings tonight. The only way the Vikings stack works is if that offense looks like the 2013 Denver Broncos. I will say this. If you advance out of this lobby with a bunch of Vikings. They have a great schedule week 15 and 16, and then odds are they blow out the Jets week 17, but might come off the field before the game is over. Yo, Wilson happening down the stretch. What's up? But I'm going to be dipping out real quick. I think we'll hit the pipe one final time for everyone, but I think this is it on Monday night. Hope y'all enjoyed your Memorial Day, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Anthony. The late night drafts. This might be Romadunze. Are we talking about Romadunze? Not sure who we're talking about. Anyways, the Jedi said, ugly as fuck draft Sniper City. We wanted you to have some stacks, just didn't happen. All right. That's going to be it for me. I think I've caught up with the chat enough. Ayuk Hill, scary. Enjoyed it. Thanks again. One more hit. You know it. Now's the time. Smoke it if you got it. Good nightcap for everyone. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace out.